Ah, you're awake. Please remain calm. Please remain calm. An accident has occurred, resulting in a minor head injury. Resulting in a major head injury. Minor head injury. Injury. The cause of this incident is unknown. No other injuries were reported, and the station has resumed normal operation. While an investigation into the incident is currently underway. Several hull breaches detected. Emergency power online. Backup power failing. Recommend evacuation protocol. All emergency protocols and vital steps for evacuation can be found in your company field manual. The field manual will provide useful information to aid you in your current objective and guide you to solutions for any situation that you are confronted with in the coming moments. Pairing the manual and its wealth of valuable information with your company-issued multi-tool, there is no problem unsolvable to you. Using records of your crew, dossiers, research, and systems operation guides is imperative. Search for information left by your crewmates, clues to what has occurred, alien records, and classified tools aboard in order to progress through the ship and escape. It is company policy that all crew update their personal logs regularly for company review. These records will no doubt aid you in your mission to evacuate the ship. It is imperative that you utilize your field manual if you are to safely exit the station. The field manual. You must use the field manual. In the event of an emergency on the station, the evacuation protocol must immediately be activated. A head count will be taken to ensure all crew members are present. The station's escape pod will then be activated, and the crew will board and be launched into space. There you will await confirmation. Confirmation.
Gather round, freaks. It's Thursday, and we're turning the pages of the Grimoire of Familiar Killers. And you know what that means? It's time to say the question we ask each and every week, and that is, hey, did you see this one?
I saw it.
The night is dark, and the air is still. The moon casts an eerie glow over the internet, where a group of curious individuals have gathered to discuss their shared fascination for the macabre. They hold in their hands a book with a foreboding presence, bound in flesh and inked in blood. A tome of horror that only opens its pages when a sacrifice is made. Within its ancient passages lie the secrets of the most infamous murderers and monsters of all time. Join us. But beware, for once this book is open, there's no telling what horrors may be unleashed. This is the Grimoire of Familiar Killers.
of Earth, freaks, gather round. It's another episode of Hey, Did You See This One? I'd like to apologize.
I like that new theme song. It's so fun.
I know, I want to use it as our theme song, but it's too spooky. It's the Halloween season. It is the third week of October, which means we're talking Nightmare on Elm Street Part 4 Dream Master. And I'd like to once again welcome to the show, friend of the show, person who's been on the show now. How many times is this? 4? 3?
Third? 4? Maybe 4. Definitely 3.
Definitely 3. Possibly 4.
So you did Halloween 2. We did the Shyamalan phenomenon.
I think that's it.
Okay, so
I think that's it. Yeah.
This is your third time. Well, everybody, please welcome Craig Webster back to the show.
Shouldn't we call him Creepy Spider Web Craigster?
I like it. I like it.
Creepy
So does the
spider.
audience, apparently.
Yeah. It never gets old, I promise.
Come on. I've been crafting that since about 15 seconds ago, guys.
That's right. We are.
Well, it's been fun.
Thank you, everybody. That was our show. Just a whole bunch of pre-made videos.
You got to go out on a high note. The fart noise, and you're done.
Fart noise, audience applause, fart noise, and we're out.
Honk, honk.
You prematurely shot your wad.
I'm always shooting my wad. Don't ever underestimate the amount of wad. Okay. Anyway,
I never would.
it's the beginning of the show, so let's kick it off right. Let's get into it. It's almost 10 after. We always talk about a brief history. Let's talk about our brief history with the film Nightmare on Elm Street Part 4, Dream Master.
A brief history.
Since you were here last, Craig,
He heard that.
We have sound effects. We have musical stings. They are amazing. So I hope that you appreciate them. I have made it a tradition on the show for the guest to go first. So Craig, why don't you give us your brief history?
Yeah, no, I love it. My brief history. That's my take on it. Is this was either the first or second completely inappropriate movie that I watched at a far too young age. It was this and Friday the 13th Part 3. My cousin showed me this. My friend, we were like seven. No, this came out. What year did this come out?
88.
88. Okay, so we must have been like 9 then. Had it on VHS and didn't watch the whole movie, of course, just fast forwarded to all the kills, and man was I blown away. This is probably I'm not calling it the best in the series, but it's probably my favorite, for nostalgia's fact, because it's my first, but also because just they care so little about the plot. I mean, it's just such a weak vehicle just to get to these crazy amazing kills with crazy amazing special effects for the most part. And I love it. It's just whatever. Dream Master. Kristen gives her thing to the other girl who's played by a higher paid actress, and that's the main girl now, and she does all her things, and everyone dies. That's my summary of the movie.
Pretty much.
That's roughly my history with it. But that set off my love of slasher flicks. I have the Nightmare on Elm Street box set on DVD. I love this and the Friday the 13th and the Halloweens and everything. And I can trace that all back to probably Adam Elliott's basement in 1989, watching this on VHS, and it was probably in a case just like that one behind your head, Jason.
This one.
Yeah, I remember that poster or the box case from Blockbuster Video before.
The home, they clearly copied it from Jumbo Video or something. It was not in the official case. It was over
one of those ones.
The Memorex.
It is reminiscent of the poster for the third one, which also had nothing to do with anything that happened in the movie. I think the story behind that is they would give them, because these movies had such quick turnaround, they would say, this is basically what it's about, and then someone would just do the poster art, and then they'd get it and be close enough.
I mean, if you look at
there's Freddy. Okay.
If you look at it, the background, it's it's the junkyard from the first kill, and that's represented. And like his
So
face,
someone watched the movie until the first kill, and they're like, "All right, I got it."
that's the movie.
No, that's all they had written
Rodney.
up to that point. They're like, I was gonna definitely have the junkyard from the third movie in it because we got to get his bones back in the movie somehow.
Yeah,
Right,
with
yeah.
Helldog fire piss.
Yeah,
Held on
best
fire
resurrection.
piss.
Stand back, Jason getting electrocuted by like a fence post or whatever. A dog with flaming urine. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's how all demons should be brought back to life,
Yeah.
Yeah,
in
exactly.
my humble opinion.
I got some trivia about that Hellhound fire piss. Actually, Jason asked me to do a little bit of research, probably so I had more to talk about this time than I did last time.
Cool. We'll get to
where I almost never talk.
We'll get to the trivia
Cool.
in the body. You can sprinkle it. You can sprinkle it in as we chat. Steve, why don't you give us your
Sprinkle it
belief?
like flaming piss.
Like flaming urine. Why don't you give us your history?
Similar history to all of these movies. I feel like I'm repeating myself each week as we go through the grimoire. I binged all of these movies when I was a teenager because I was too scared to watch them before that. So it was like as soon as I got out of the middle school, I'm scared of everything, I just jumped into the deep end with all horror and was like, you know what? I saw The Exorcist and it wasn't that bad. Now I can watch all horror movies. And it's pretty much true. Like The Exorcist kind of really softened the blow. It's like when somebody eats really spicy food for the first time and then all spicy food after that is kind of just like, all right, yeah, I'm good. I can handle it. This one though, like you said, Craig, the special effects in this movie are the star. It's beautiful. I mean, the third one had great special effects. The second one, pretty good. A lot of it was more kind of sexual and body horror-ish. This one obviously is also body horror-ish, but that one was like very much like Giger-ish or Geiger-ish. And then the first one, they just got crazy with the camera work, right? They're like, how can we make this work with a tiny budget that we have? But this one, they really just went crazy, and you can see it.
Budget.
Yeah. It's probably some of the most memorable Freddy Krueger murders, and I do like that they've now sort of established the rules via the third movie, and they carry those rules over into this movie, which up until the third one, there really weren't any kind of clear defined rules for Freddy because they were still sort of figuring him out, but the third one sort of signed in blood. This is how Freddy works, and this is how we can deal with him, and now all other movies must obey those laws. So I'm glad they didn't try and introduce any new law. I guess they created new stuff, but not new laws. Not new Freddy
not
laws.
really. Like, yeah, the whole Dream Master thing is like that's whatever it is. That's kind of new though. Like being able to absorb everyone's powers.
Yeah, but I mean the third one was they also created some stuff where it's like, oh, when you're in Dream World, you like Freddy, you can manipulate your surroundings, but then you can find each other somehow. Yeah. Anyway, we'll get into that with the body, but yeah, my history is brief. It's the same as all the other Grimoire movies. I just watched them all within the same summer.
Yeah. I mean, much like the other movies in the Grimoire, I'm like always more excited. I of course watched it literally Monday or yesterday. Actually, I watched it last night, like before I went to bed. And a lot like Steve, we talk about this all the time. It was one of those things where it'll be a movie. I remember kids talking about the pizza bit when I was a kid. That part, I think, trapped me in my mind prison, causing me to never be able to watch this film. And also, I think I learned about. I think the only part of this movie that really got me was the cockroach part. And man, that's some fucking good shit. If a 1988 horror movie can actually make me go, ugh. Like when her arms bend backwards, that kind of shit gets me. But much like Steve and probably a lot like Craig, like nothing really affects me, and definitely not 80s movies. So basically my history with this movie is just like seeing the cover of it. I don't think this was the cover on shelves. I think this is like a poster made later. Is that what you guys were saying at the top?
I'm sure there was a few different ones.
Yeah.
I can't wait to start forcing you to watch actually scary movies from the 80s.
Yeah,
you're like 80s movies don't affect me. I'm like, this is not a true horror movie. This is a goofy slash.
This is a cash grab. Yeah.
It's a cash grab. This one,
This
one and part 3, they go together, and in a lot of ways. And also, I view them both as like they're almost like horror superhero hybrid things too. Mm-hmm. So, that's pretty much it for me. I just fucking remember kids loving Freddy Krueger and me just being like, no, I can't look at that.
I don't like Burn Man.
I'll fall through the floor or whatever. So, moving along, let's move on to the body of the episode where we will just talk freeform.
Yay.
Oh, everybody back up, because here comes the body of the episode.
Ooh la
Body Ventura
la.
of the episode.
Yeah.
So sensual. So most of the time we kind of do this freeform and just kind of talk about whatever, make our way through the movie. The horror movies are kind of better if we go kind of plot point by plot point, because it's kind of kill to kill a lot of times in these ones. So we can talk freely. If we hit any snags, I'll refer to my notes, which are excellently kept notes, beat by beat through the movie. But we like to start off the show with Steve. Give us a little quick synopsis of the film for the viewer.
Well, I mean, this one is really fast. It takes place in the same town as all of them. We've got the three survivors of the third Elm Street movie who've now reintegrated into society, and seemingly trying to move on with their lives. But Kristen can't let go of the idea of Freddy, and she is showcased to have the ability to pull her friends into her dreams. And they're kind of like, stop pulling us in your dreams. You're going to summon Freddy if you keep doing this. And what do you know? She kind of does. And Freddy comes back. He immediately kills Kincaid in sort of an anticlimactic death for that character. I think he was probably my favorite character from the third movie. And then the guy, he was the deaf guy in the other one, right? Or the guy who couldn't talk.
Confused
the mute.
about this.
The mute. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was
And
gonna
now
ask
he can
you
talk
about
now, I
this.
guess.
Yeah.
I think that it was like he was just mute because he didn't want to talk or something. It was like it was psychological, right?
Psychological, yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't a physical condition. But he dies as well, and sort of kind of an homage to Johnny Depp in the first movie. And then Freddy starts picking off, and then he kills Kirsten in the weirdest way. I've like, it's kind of okay. But she then passes her gift of being able to pull people into her dreams to Alice, the new character in the group, who is dating, Alice isn't dating her brother. Her brother is dating Kirsten. And, we've got this secondary group of friends that Kristen has made, and they start dying one by one, just like any Frightmare movie, Freddy Frightmare. And, there's not really much to tell. It's just like Freddy comes back and then he kills everybody. And then the final girl, Alice, has a showdown with him in a church, and she uses the collective souls of everyone he's killed to kill him from the inside, to sort of like tear him apart from within. She absorbs their powers, or their like skills, I guess, which I thought would be funny if she absorbed asthma from that one girl. She just
She thought she was going to get like,
super
like,
calculus
super
powers.
smart.
Yeah.
Nope.
Right.
Just can't breathe well.
You just suck at running. And then the movie ends with sort of a more fine, like there's more finality to this movie than the other Freddy movies. You do see a reflection of Freddy in the pond at the end, but that could be, that could be chalked up to her just only sleeping for 2 hours a night, as she says, like 5 seconds before that. That's it. It's super simple.
I was so confused about how they related to the first one and why she was just out of the gate, like dream walking, whatever they call it. But I know what's confusing to me. Patricia Arquette played Kristen in the first one. She had a last name, and this one the character's name is just Kristen, and it's a new actor. You just
Tuesday Night, by the way, which is a funny name.
Fantastic name.
Yeah,
I just noticed that as well. But
I looked her up. All she does is horror movies. Like literally, that's all she does. With a name like Tuesday Night, how can you do anything?
You gotta be
you're either going to be a stripper or a scream queen, or like a hip hop artist. Maybe Tuesday Night kind of sounds like a hip hop artist to me.
Fun fact: she also did the theme song. Sung the theme song for this movie.
Oh, so maybe she was like a pop star.
Not hip hop, but yeah.
Which song?
The beginning one or the ending?
I don't know. No,
Both?
the ending one is the Sinead O'Connor song,
Sinead O'Connor
right?
song, which shocked me because I didn't know Sinead
It's the
O'Connor did
beginning.
like crappy pop in the 80s. I thought she was always doing heartfelt
with
ballads.
Freddie doing spoken word poetry over the top of it.
Well, that's the
I'll
next
come
song.
get you in your sleep.
That's the Turtle
Listen
Power
to the
style
sound of me creep.
Freddie rap.
Yeah,
Okay,
that
Freddy.
might be the one with Tuesday night.
Freedy power.
Yeah.
It's
Go,
a nightmare
Freddy, go,
come and
Freddy,
getcha.
go.
But the opening song is like a far cry from the opening song of the first one, right? The other movies have very moody music or music that's very telling of the vibe of the movie, and this one it just doesn't seem to fit, right? It's almost like an
Yeah,
advertisement.
I wanted to
or
bring
something.
up the soundtrack. Yeah, like as a point. We got Blondie is on the radio, but the rest, and then the Sinead O'Connor song, and I don't know who the rest of the music's by, but it's
Mhm.
maybe if we were, older, if we were adults in the 80s, we would know who the hell these songs are by, but
True.
it's
There were a lot of
very
songs.
cheap seeming soundtrack.
There were a lot of songs in the movie, though. I watched the whole credits, and I noticed that there were
Yeah.
probably 10 songs in the movie altogether, which leads me to believe it's a lot like the Chucky movie we did, Bride of Chucky, which I knew all the songs because it's all like late 90s like rap, rock and metal. Like there's a White Zombie song and a Rob Zombie song, so like that's sort of
Oh, that's
and
crazy.
and what's his brother? What's the Monster Magnet song?
Power
as
Man
well?
5000.
Power Man
I
5000.
don't remember his brother's name, but that's the band.
John Powerman. The thing that I love about this movie is how it fucking wouldn't even need a plot. The plot's so erratic, and it kind of slowed the movie down, even though it's still only 90 minutes. But they needed a reason to get from kill to kill, and like literally I just wrote here the fuck we go again, because it just starts off with her in a dream. It's the same dream as always. You see the house, you see the creepy little girls singing the 1-2 Freddy's coming for you refrain. She's carving some shit with chalk in the sidewalk.
Carving with chalk.
Yep. It's all very the opening, and then we get a great intro, which is pretty like I love a good opening credits that has stuff going on, as you know. Although the Friday the 13th white on black and then explosion at the end has kind of grown on me.
You're like, I now appreciate nothing to immediate explosion.
If the next one doesn't have an explosion, I'm gonna be pissed off. Yeah.
The explosion was only there because that was the 3D one, right?
No, but it happens in the fourth one as well.
It happens in the fourth one too.
Oh, really?
I think,
it did? Oh, man.
Yeah, I think the fourth movie was like, well, we can't not have an explosion. We've already, we like that. People are going to expect it now.
Yeah, their thought process was exactly Jason's. Just
Yeah.
like, well, we got to have explosions every time now.
But Jason, you saying "Here the fuck we go again"? I'm pretty sure that was like Kincaid's exact line when Freddy pops up.
Oh, well, I want to ask you guys this. This is the thing that drove me insane about the first act of the movie. Why, if you know that Freddy's dead and gone, why even bother using your powers to go into dreams still? What was she they never this is my problem with the plot too. What was she looking for something? All I can tell is that she had the ability to do it and was just doing it for the fuck of it.
She's literally just dreaming, man. Like, she doesn't control what she dreams about. She just controls, like, pulling people into her dreams because she's a scaredy cat.
Oh,
She's scared
so
of Freddy,
she was-
obviously. So
she was just-
her power is to pull them in. It's not her power to go into dreams. She's just sleeping and has a dream, and then she's like, "Oh shit, it's a Freddy dream."
Because the rules of Kristen's or the rules of Alice's ability are also kind of weird and like.
Yeah, I
don't
got
make a
problems
whole lot
with
of
once
sense.
Alice. Yeah, we can get to that later. I got issues.
But my thing
Freedom.
about this is like, is she just pulling her friends into the dream because like she's just having horrible nightmares and grasping onto something?
Yeah, she wants some help. She's scared, so she's like, "I'll grab my two friends that I know I can pull in here," and they're immediately like, "Don't do. There's nothing here. You're just scared, and you're now ruining my sleep. I was dreaming about being a billionaire, and it was dope."
Yeah, yeah.
What the
I mean,
fuck?
even if, and we know it's true, like even if Freddy is there, and we know he is, I mean, just leave everyone else out of it. Like,
Yeah.
you're all gonna die anyway. Just like kill yourself.
Yeah, later in the movie,
Still kill yourself. But I mean, like, don't pull everyone else into it. And it's even worse when she gives her powers to Alice because, like, it's like, okay, well, now you're putting this responsibility on her. And Alice pulls in people while they're awake. I don't know what's going on there. Suddenly they're awake and they're in a dream.
They had
Like,
the
what's her
weirdest-
name? The workout chick was like working out.
Debbie.
And Alice pulled her into a dream. How does that work?
They had the weirdest like misdirect with her daydreaming through the whole movie. I thought that daydreaming shit was going to be more apparent. I think they only really did it the one time in the classroom with Sheila.
I think that was meant to like infer to us that she daydreams constantly, and she's able to then, because she's so, she's constantly daydreaming. Her ability to manipulate dreaming is passing through into the real world because of her ability to daydream so vividly. It would have been interesting if that was more clear, and like if she did it more and she discovered that but I mean, you need like a 2-hour movie to be able to kind of go through the paces of explaining that kind of stuff.
I think
so that's how she can pull waking people in, though, because she's pulling them into a daydream. So she's happy, she's daydreaming. They start dreaming, like whatever what's her name is working out. She starts daydreaming and then gets pulled into Alice's dream, which is really thin plot wise, but
for sure. But I don't think that it's would be telling stories out of school to a problematic degree to assume that there's probably a version of the script of this movie that had her like using daydream powers and like using them to like to get ready to fight Freddy, at night when people are actually sleeping.
I mean, the final 10 minutes goes full action movie, which was pretty good.
Yeah, it's kind of great. I like it. Like visually, it's very fun.
There are things about this movie that I just didn't really follow, and I didn't pull my phone out once. You know what I mean? Like these horror movies, these 80s horror movies, I'm really loving because they resonate with me in this weird way because I didn't have this experience as a kid because I was too much of a scaredy cat, but as an adult, I find them to be just like they all play as comedies to me. Elements of these movies don't, like the Friday the 13th movies they don't play as comedy as much, except for when certain things happen. They still have this sense of foreboding, and the Halloween movies are always played so straight that you can't really watch them through the lens of them being funny. He does do funny
Freddy
kills.
I mean, wait till you get to number 6, Freddy's Dead. That's a straight up comedy. You got Roseanne and Tom Arnold in it.
Yeah, I heard it's a parody. We get into parody territory, and then New Nightmares number 7, right? Where they
Chucky, which cuts the comedy out entirely. That's like a reboot.
Like Chucky and Freddy as characters are just inherently odd, right? Like they're weird. So putting them in these cartoonish situations is more fun than if you try and put two like silent stalker characters like Jason and Michael, they're not inherently funny. You can do funny stuff to them, like have them get slapstick stuff done to them, and it'll be goofy to look at, but it's never as funny as like a Freddy Krueger turning into a cartoon character, or like getting somebody really stoned and being like whoa and fucking with them, right?
I feel like
Chucky does the same sort of stuff.
Yeah, I feel like Jason isn't funny most of the time, but when he does shit like throw a human through like a double window, like in the last one, or in the last one where he just pulls somebody through a window and the whole fucking like side of the house like explodes, like that shit's funny. I don't know if at the time it was meant
it's funny to us, but like I feel like there is also a certain demographic of people that are going to find that horrifying, right? They'll actually be scared of it, whereas something like Freddy eating a meatball it's just goofy, right? Awesome. And most people will at least understand the humor behind it, even if someone's disgusted by it, being like, oh, this is vile, I can't believe you like this. They'll know why it's funny. They just won't find it funny.
But this one is even, like, the way that I understand the franchise, the Nightmare franchise gets, this one isn't even played that funny. Because the things he does, we still get very real reactions from the humans.
Mm-hmm.
Like when he sucks the light, he says some funny shit and then does the horrible kill, and then the people who are witnessing it are so horrified by it that you get pulled back to the reality of the situation, and that happens a few times.
He's almost like Arnold Schwarzenegger in that, like, he's always got a zinger right before he kills the guy.
Nice to meet you, and then he freezes them, and then they explode.
Time to kick some ice,
Mortal Kombat style.
Yeah, want to suck face.
Yeah. Did you catch it? She goes no, like real quick. She's like no,
No, yeah,
no, too bad. This is an assault.
Tim in the chat says very Ripley in Aliens for the final battle.
Yeah,
You bitch.
Yeah, there's like a badassness to it. It doesn't quite work as well, I don't think. It's more hilarious than it is.
No,
like,
you wouldn't
exciting.
put this on the same level as Aliens. James Cameron's Aliens?
It's almost there, but not quite. Not quite. If she had maybe put 2 spiky bracelets on, then maybe it would have been.
Yeah. Speaking of James Cameron, that trivia I mentioned before about the dog pissing. So I guess James Cameron was filming on like the same lot or whatever, and the director of this, I'm at a loss for his name right now, ran into James Cameron, and James Cameron knew he was making the next Freddy movie, and he was like, hey, like, how you bringing him back this time? And he just like flippantly was like, oh, dog's gonna like piss fire on his grave, and that's gonna bring him back to life, and that turned out to be what happened. He stuck to that.
That's incredible.
That's hilarious. Because James Cameron probably said that's genius. And he's like, listen, James Cameron said it was genius.
Probably. Yeah, James Cameron liked it. So
Hollywood
I don't
royalty.
need to...
Yeah.
So
I don't... 1988, what would he have been making then? Like The Abyss?
Maybe.
Probably.
Or maybe Terminator. Maybe it started on Terminator 2.
Terminator 1 was 86,
90...
wasn't it? Terminator 1?
Terminator 1 was 84.
Terminator 2 was 90.
Aliens was 86. And Terminator 2 was 90? I thought it was 91 or 92.
That was 91.
Is it 90? I thought it was 90. I could be
91.
wrong.
Yeah, it's 91.
91. But it's possible he was starting. Who knows?
Dear
that is a big
James
movie.
Cameron,
Yeah.
what
He was
he
either
doing?
starting that or finishing The Abyss.
I'm gonna look it up really
Or he was
quickly.
just hanging out.
I'm looking it up first.
He was making Martini Ranch Reach, the music video, and he was working on The Abyss.
There we go.
Nice.
Answers to your questions.
The director for this movie, to answer another question, is Renny Harlin, who produced a lot of movies like Cutthroat Island and Cliffhanger, but he directed. Let's see if there's anything of note here. He directed. He did direct Cliffhanger, and he directed Die Hard 2, which is a great Die Hard, in my opinion. And
one of the best Die Hards. He directed Deep Blue Sea.
He directed
I love
Deep
that
Blue
movie.
he directed.
He gave the
Exorcist.
okay for LL Cool J to put that song in at the end. Man, that's it. Talk about like songs written for movies for the end credits. That LL Cool J song, it's tops. That's like my number one go-to like end credits.
The deepest,
song.
bluest.
The
Deepest, bluest.
He also directed the music video for that song. It's crazy that these directors did actually also like. I didn't know James Cameron did music videos, which I just learned right now.
A lot of directors do.
I know,
many.
but a lot of them are synonymous.
Spike Lee?
Yeah, I know, but a lot like Spike Lee, for instance, was synonymous with his music
Zack
videos.
Snyder.
Zack Snyder is still a music video.
What's his name?
Director. Let's be real.
What's his name? The guy who directed The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo remake and Alien 3 and what's his name?
Susan.
Fight Club.
Fincher. David Fincher.
David Fincher. There we go. I don't know how I forgot
Grimace.
one of my favorite directors' names. Grimace did it.
Now we have to do
he directed several Grimace Shake TikToks.
Yeah.
David Fincher's Grimace Shake TikTok.
Fuck, that'd be weird.
It's so dark. It's darker than regular.
So dark. Okay, well you answered all my questions about Kincaid, Joey, and Kristen, so I can go down my list like this much.
Before we go on, can I mention that in almost every single movie, somebody refers to Freddy Krueger as Fred Krueger, and it always sounds like a knife in my ears. Like I hate it for some reason.
I think they do it to refer
At least
to him.
consider ourselves lucky no one calls him Frederick Krueger.
Frederick Krueger.
Imagine if they
Yeah,
pronounced
I
that.
just feel like if someone called him Fred Krueger as he was trying to murder them, he should be like, "Please, it's Freddy. Fred was my father," or something, you know.
Well, that's kind of the way that I look at it. They always refer to Fred Krueger as the kid killer from before, and we probably talked about this in the Grimoire episodes about Freddy previously. But like, did they retcon in the remake that he's a kid?
No, it's
Bad
always
man?
there. It's always
From the first one.
subtext. It's subtext throughout all of them, but it's like they don't. None of these movies would be fun to watch if
Right.
we had to deal with
Oh
that.
yes, I remember that conversation.
The first one they explicitly explain it. Like Nancy's mom sits her down and is like, "Listen, like your dad and I and the other kid's parents around the neighborhood,
killed
murdered
him.
this guy because he was killing children.
But I mean, so the original script for the first movie, he was not just killing them; he was doing other stuff to them. But during the filming of that movie, there was this rash of like children coming forth because of a school that had a systematic abuse system of the teachers abusing children, which I think eventually turned out to be not true, and like some twisted parents were like doing it to try and fuck the school over for some reason. I don't know the details, so don't quote me on any of that. So they removed all of that from the story and just made it subtext and been like, yeah, he killed them and that's it. He just really liked killing kids. And that's all. And then the remake, they went right back to what the original script was, and it made it very not fun to watch. You're just like, ugh, Freddy Krueger. Anytime Freddy Krueger.
I mean, that actor is like a fine actor, but he did not do a good Freddy.
You know what though? I rewatched it recently because I was like, maybe I'll change my opinion. I'll watch it again. His performance is actually not that bad. It's the fact that like they don't give him fun lines to play around with.
That played Rorschach?
Yeah. They don't give him fun lines to play around with. And if they did, they wouldn't be fun because of the fact that the entire story is revolved around the fact that he's like a child molester. And that's not fun. That's not fun horror movie stuff anymore. It's gross.
They try to make it like a serious reboot, but like you can't get the ghost of, the past 7 movies. Like you can't shake that off. That like, no. I mean, in the 6th one, he literally, like a guy dreams he's in a video game and Freddy kills him by playing a video game.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert for the best scene in that movie.
Do they in the remake, is he a wisecracking Bugs Bunny type, or is he just like, no, I'm gonna kill you, and then he kills you?
He's like,
they try to make it just.
He's like, he's like, you're my favorite, Nancy, and like that's all he does is like grow, and then he'll have like weird lines every once in a while that are meant to be comedic, but they don't come off that way because you know that he's just thinking about other stuff, so not like just murder.
It's safe to say that most of the reboots, the Halloween and the Friday the 13th, Michael Bay's, I think Friday the 13th.
He didn't direct it.
I
think he produced it or something.
He's just involved. He's like an executive producer.
Slap his name on it, like the Ninja Turtles.
The money guy.
This is when people were like, "Ooh, Michael Bay has a new thing coming out," and got excited about it. Now people are like, "Don't put your name on it."
No, because you're
a joke now.
You made Ninja Turtles seem like it was Michael Bay, and it really isn't. It's its own thing, and it's actually pretty good, in my opinion. What I'm trying to get at though is the remakes of the big players. Actually, the Grimoire all have remakes now, which is interesting. We'll have to do that like last. But are
most
any
of them only have one?
It's true. I think there's 2 Halloweens, right?
There's like 5.
No,
there's 2 series of remakes for Halloween.
Yeah, there's the Rob Zombie,
one, and then there's the whatever.
And then there's the new ones like Kills and Dies or whatever they're called, and they retcon like
Halloween Kills, Halloween Dies, Halloween comes back again. Ugh.
Halloween's never coming back. Everybody named their
kid
Michael
Happy
Myers.
Halloween.
They did. That's actually the tentative title for the 3rd one. Yeah. It gets real masky going forward, I assume. But
it's just like an introspective look at all the survivors, and Michael Myers does not come back.
No,
and it's just them all dealing with their lives after the massacre.
It's a mockumentary.
It's just their marriage is falling apart.
They're like, it's just not the same since Michael Myers dies.
But you guys have
the constant fear of murder, us getting murdered, is what kept our marriage together.
Just to sort of,
I'll watch it in the hopes that Paul Rudd shows up.
Move forward with my question: are any of them good? Like the way
the Jason ones are, right?
The Friday the 13th.
Yeah, I like the Jason one.
Okay.
Yeah, because it just feels like a modern reimagining of the same idea. It's just like a bunch of teenagers in a cabin on the lake.
Not stellar, but watchable.
Is it like a remake of the first one, kind of?
No.
Yeah, kind of. No.
Nope.
Kind of.
It's like a remake of the second one.
Oh, okay.
With a little bit of the third one.
So it has Jason in it.
The Pamela Voorhees stuff is completely removed. It's just Jason is like a monster man in the woods, and he wears a bag on his head like he does in the second one, and then partway through the movie he finds a hockey mask and puts it on, and he just kills teenagers, and it's fun. I think there's a part where they find...
I like the Rob Zombie ones. I like the first Rob Zombie one.
I like the first one.
I mean, it was fun, but was a bit long though, because he added like 45 minutes of like Mike Myers growing up, like backstory.
And he was like, "Yeah,
Which
baby."
was like I liked, but it was too much, too long.
And then Mike Myers loses his mojo and he has to get it back.
How Mikey got his groove back.
With his Swedish penis enlarger pump or whatever.
Yeah. No,
Well,
I like the
not
first
his
one.
bag, baby.
Yeah, I like the first one, but the second one just felt kind of mean to me a lot of the time. Like the kills in the second one were so drawn out and overly gory to the point that I was like, this isn't fun. It feels rude to the actors.
My mind prison for horror still remains in that area.
Well, I would say that movie is the reason, like, when people are like, I don't like horror movies, like, because they're too gross and gory and it's just too much, and I don't understand why anyone likes that. That's the kind of movie they're thinking of. Yeah. Whereas when you watch something like this, Freddy Dream Master, it's just like goofy, kooky kills, which is why I have like a difficult time referring to these movies as like traditional horror movies, because they're not horrifying. They're just horrific moments happening to people in comedic circumstances and like strange events, but are like beautifully told through amazing special effects and super creative people getting together and making stuff really visually interesting.
It's got a nice ring to it. That's a new genre. What you just said.
Yeah.
It's all written across
the It has like a colon DVD. After it.
Yeah. Okay, well, moving on in the movie itself, we're introduced to a cast of new characters, including Alice, who is, spoiler alert, the final girl in this one.
She's the Dream Master.
And her boyfriend.
Rick. I used to think Rick was so cool with his like kind of spiky hair and his karate skills.
Her
overly chilled,
dropping down from his bedroom window instead of going out the front door.
See, that part confused me at first because I was like, "What the fuck is he doing? Why is he avoiding his dad?"
His dad's a drunk.
His dad
was pouring like half a liter of vodka into his tomato juice in the morning, like before work. I wrote down, "Drunk dad is a sloppy ass cunt." I don't like him. Get him out of here. He should have died. Why didn't he die? Why don't any of the shitty parents ever die? It's so that they can come back.
He has the vibe of someone like what I'm gonna project upon him is that he's a drunk because he's one of the parents that helped kill Freddy way back when. So he drinks to forget about that horrible murder that he committed. But Alice isn't one of the Elm Street kids.
No, he's just a drunk because his wife left him or whatever. Or maybe she didn't. I don't know. They don't really go into it. We just know that he's a bad dad.
That's the problem.
Bad dads are bad.
This movie as a whole, they don't go into a lot of things, and it's not even like use your imagination. It's like they do very specific things that make you go, I want to know more about why this is the way that it is. And I think that's kind of a fundamental flaw with the storytelling of like the plot. Somewhere along the way, there was probably a 2-hour version of this movie, like you were saying, Steve, that had a little bit more backstory. And and then somebody was like, no, people don't want a fucking long ass movie about all this backstory. They want to see the kills as close together as possible in succession. I think that's what I kind of
observed. And also it's just
but
like
it disjoints the story doing that. It makes everything feel like clunky.
But you watch the second Freddy movie and you learn so much about all the characters in the same amount of time. I think they just know how to focus themselves a little bit more in that movie, even though a lot of people don't like that one.
The cast
I think nowadays it's like it has this resurgence as like this like perfect queer cinema movie, which I happen to agree with, where the subtext is like super poignant and good, whereas there isn't really any subtext in this movie. It's like a bunch of crutch cliches propping up a non-existent plot so that we can get to really amazing special effects.
This one does excellently set up and pay off Freddy's like comedy kills. Like he kills people by doing the things they're afraid to them.
Yes, of course. But like
the asthma and the bugs.
And also, for what it's worth, this cast, he probably has the most kills in this one out of any of the four, because he has to kill the remaining crew of 3 and then a whole regular sized group of kids that was like
he just kills the original 3 to get them out of the way, like that
very
happens
quickly.
so quick that
like Kincaid doesn't even get like there should have been a scene
They
about
did him dirty.
Yeah, there should have been a scene where he's like, I hope I don't get killed in a planet.
Yeah.
I'm really scared of scrap yards.
If it was a planet also.
Like I don't mean to like demean the thing that you just said, or be reductive in any way, but like the setup and payoff it's not masterfully done in any way. It's like, oh, you're scared of cockroaches, now you are a cockroach. Like I don't think that it's like very creative in terms of like it's just
in a neat way though.
They telegraphed it for sure, but they telegraphed it through a megaphone like right into your fucking face. She doesn't like bugs. Okay.
I didn't put that together, honestly. There's two
and the
moments.
guy who does karate, is he gonna fight Freddy?
That one
karate,
I did.
Maybe?
That one I said out loud to Madison,
obvious.
who was watching the movie with me. Also, she can't handle any gore at all. She can't handle scary movies at all, and she just watched the whole thing with me because this movie.
There's very little blood in it, right? If any,
Right.
like there's. Yeah, I'm trying
Yeah,
to.
even one of the kills, he sucks all the blood out of her, and you don't see any. She just turns into like a little deflated, like,
what's her name gets killed as
dummy.
the cockroach. It's just like cockroach juice that squirts out of the.
It's like it's bug juices.
What they could have done for that.
Yes, there's
kill,
blood. There was blood in the waterbed, right? Like floating around with them.
No, he's just floating in like there's no blood.
There's no blood.
It's like
There's
clear
blood
water.
when he there's blood when he bursts up through, like in the dream. There's blood because I messaged Steve to be like, what are the odds that we have 2 Grimoire movies with waterbed kills? Because
and they're both from Freddy.
And they're
No. I think that was just them like paying homage to the Johnny Depp death, right? Being like, oh, people love that water death kill. Let's like psych him out.
Well, I was referencing
this time he's trapped in it.
I was referencing the waterbed kill in Chucky.
Oh,
Bride of
so we
Chucky.
have 3 waterbed kills.
So I guess 3 waterbed
Johnny
kills.
Depp's was not a waterbed; it was a regular bed. It was a blood bed.
But then the blood
just a
fucking
regular
filled the
bed.
room.
True, yeah.
But what I was going to say about the cockroach kill is what I thought was happening is when she goes face down, I thought when she pulled her face up, it was going to be like acid, and she was going to have an acid face. But then she still exploded out of her body and became a full cockroach. So.
Yeah.
We should make
pretty awesome.
We should make our own horror movie and call it Acid Face, and that's the villain.
It's Acid Face. He's back.
Yeah.
He's back and he's melting faces.
Yeah. He comes for you on your lunch break. Specifically.
Tim in the chat says cockroach juice really grossed me out as a kid when I first saw it, and I can imagine
It was pretty gross.
that whole sequence being especially fucked in 1998.
Yeah.
Like, how did you react to that, Craig, when you were just a kid?
9.
Yeah.
I was probably, we were just like, there's 3 of us in my friend's basement. And we were just like, whoa, cool. Probably.
I think
She's got
It was like the
cockroach
coolest
face.
fucking thing to watch that movie at 9. Like my friend's parents weren't home. Like his older brother was upstairs or whatever. And just like,
I think the most similar
just watching something we knew we weren't supposed to be watching. And it was fucking awesome.
I've always been able to handle video game gore, like even through the times when I couldn't handle movie gore. And I think the closest to that experience I ever had was I rented Resident Evil 2 for the PlayStation 1, and me and my buddy Jacob like played it at a sleepover with like the lights out, and that game kind of affected me in that like, whoa, oh my god kind of a way.
What actually got me in video games recently is The Quarry. I started playing that because I was on PS Plus for free. Have you played all the way through it yet?
No, we played a bunch of the Dark Picture games though on stream.
Mm-hmm.
There's a part where it's I won't spoil it.
Don't
for
spoil
you.
it.
A part that's so great, gross me. And it's a video game. I was like, oh man, like they did it so much detail and just so much gore.
Until Dawn has a few moments
getting
like
that
that.
point, yeah.
If you haven't played Until Dawn, it's also
it's one of my favorites.
Yeah, it has some moments that are like, how did they fucking get away with this? And also, so I was going to start a new segment during this show called MPAA Trivia. And the MPAA is just like the number at the end. It's like the official number for the rating of the movie. But me and Steve watched different versions, I assume, of the movie, and neither of them had it. And I've got a master list of MPAA ratings.
I mean, it's possibly watched the same version and they just both didn't have it.
That's
it's
true.
The same version.
But that said, none of the Nightmare on Elm Street movies except for 2 are in that MPAA. And all the Friday the 13th.
Well, that just means if there's no MPAA rating, it just means the MPAA didn't give it a rating, right? Like that's how it works. Because the MPAA rating is like rated R, rated PG-13, whatever, and then they put a number as like this is the 22,590th one we've done.
So I'm wondering if this movie was too like, did this have an NC-17 rating? Was it like so rated R that
there wasn't much swearing and there wasn't much blood. I feel
true.
like they did that specifically to keep the rating as low as they could.
So it's I'm just curious about why that is.
I feel like New Line Cinema was like rogue movie making back then. They were just like, we don't care. We'll release it with whatever. And if you don't pass it, then we don't pass it. Yeah, but I don't know enough about how it works. So that's why I've always been kind of like, why the fuck are we doing this segment? Because I'm like, it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't exist globally. It's not like if we ever do a foreign film, it's not going to be attached to that if we do like the original version of it or whatever.
Cool.
But
well, I thought that it was on like every American movie, and I wanted to turn it into a game,
a guessing game. I like the idea.
Like, I didn't. Yeah. How does like a movie has to have a rating to be released into theaters, doesn't it?
But that's what I'm confused about.
Yeah, I don't know. Like that's the thing is like I don't know. But if it doesn't have the number, it means it didn't get rated by the MPAA, or they.
I'm looking at it on IMDb. It's rated R.
Right. So it does. It's not unrated.
No rating on this movie.
I'm not. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that.
No, I was talking to Jason. Right. But go ahead.
I'm not saying that it doesn't have a rating. I'm saying that the MPAA didn't give it its rating. It was rated by something else, and the MPAA just approved it and didn't like put it into their, I don't know, their annals of history in terms of cinema. I don't know. I don't know how it works. We'd have to get like Cam or something here to explain it to us. I feel like even if I tried to look it up and read it, I'd be like, I don't know. I don't understand this still.
I quickly Googled, like, why doesn't it have an MPAA rating? It's just like, why is it rated R? And then somebody's like, because it's a fucking bloody, violent movie.
Because a lady gets her face ripped off and she has a cockroach face underneath it.
Most of that was English, I think.
A cockroach face underneath it.
Underneath it.
Yeah, see?
I was going to make a new segment called Penis Envy. What is it? I don't understand. What is it? I didn't look it up. What does penis envy mean?
Penis
like you don't have a penis?
No, like you're envious of other penises. You think your penis is small, and you're like, oh, I got a small penis, so you get a giant truck. When you see somebody
I thought it was not that. I thought it was being jealous of people who have penises. So people born without a penis.
Oh.
Because the way she words that,
because there was a line in something I watched recently. Wasn't even maybe it was even this movie. Someone was like, "Oh, you're the only boy in school who has penis envy." That's why it was this movie.
Yeah, that's why I brought it up. I didn't.
Okay,
just bring
so
that
it comes
up
full circle. We're not just spiraling.
I didn't just say penis envy. What is it? For no reason. Because she says to him,
"Half asleep." I had a little bit of marijuana because that's legal here in Canada, and I was losing every day.
You almost fell asleep. And then Freddy would have come to get you in your dreams, and you would have been like, "What is it?" And chopped your wiener off. That's penis envy.
So when I talk about him not going full parody at like most of these movies only have 1 to 2 bitches when he says bitch, but if you fast forward to 2018 and you see that episode of Rick and Morty where they parody Freddy Krueger, he says like every line he says bitch. So what movie does that start happening in when he starts calling everybody bitch?
The third one.
The third one. I'm sure he must have said it.
It's the third one. It's when he says welcome to prime time, bitch, and he puts her head in the. That's the first bit, the first Freddy bit.
But not the first. When does he say it like 100 times in a movie? He
doesn't ever do that. It's not a thing that he does. He says it maybe
Rick and Morty
once
is
or twice.
A comedy show, so they exaggerate for humor.
No, I get that too. I understand that. I'm not stupid. I took that reference as there at some point when it gets self-referential.
No, it's just like, so he also says, "Oh, sweet fresh meat" in this movie, and he says that a bunch of times after this as well. But calling someone a bitch is much funnier than saying, "Oh, sweet fresh meat." So obviously Rick and Morty's going to latch on to the bitch thing because it's funnier to do.
Yeah, he definitely says it in this movie in the way
he usually
we get one, and it's his catchphrase. It's a big moment in this one.
But that's how they all are after this. He doesn't say it a ton of times in any movie. He says it maybe once, or he says it once for sure, and then he says it maybe twice at some. But like they like to save it as like a like a cherry on top kind of thing. Like, oh, this is the big kill. This is the one where they spent all the money, so he's gonna call you a bitch before he gets you. I think in the next one he says, "Bon appetit."
bitch.
I even
You're like,
so,
yeah.
at the beginning when he
anorexia
kills
girl.
Kincaid,
Yeah.
I even wrote, make a pun and call him a bitch, and then I wrote, he sounds like the Undertaker. You know, the professional wrestler, the Undertaker. Sounds like the Undertaker in this film. I don't
You know the amateur wrestler, The Undertaker,
The
but I don't know
amateur.
who you're talking about.
I know you know who I'm talking about for sure.
I thought the Undertaker was always quiet.
He is, but
He
he
used to
also
be.
is like, rest in peace.
Nice. Is that the actual Undertaker music?
It's possible that he actually had that ready to go specifically for this moment. Kind of sounds like a slowed down version of the Taco Bell ring.
Is it the bell at the beginning of AC/DC's Hell's Bells?
Live Moss.
So yeah,
for
to
anyone
answer your
listening,
question,
Jason is about to die of
That
a heart
was,
attack
that
from
was
laughing too
just
much.
for me.
well, to answer your
Rest.
question, Jason, he never says bitch 100 times in any movie, and he never will.
See, he kind
If-
of sounds like
Nice.
He kind of
If you've
sounds.
seen the 1997 flick The Edge with Alec Baldwin and Anthony
Mhm.
Hopkins, Alec Baldwin says Anthony Hopkins' name like 129 times in that movie.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And I want to interview like the director or the writer and be like,
Yeah.
what is going on with this? Because once
Yeah.
you hear it, it's impossible to
Isn't
watch
it
the
like
movie.
Charles? Like, what is it, Charles?
Charles.
What is it, Charles?
Charles,
How do you make
you
fun
can't,
for
you can't be
mice,
the bear, Charles. Charles.
But also Anthony Hopkins says Bob's name a lot too. He's like, "Come on, Bob."
Is he? I
File
just
for
am
ice,
so
Bob. How do you do it, Bob?
blinded
Yeah. Bob, how do you do it, Bob?
So weird. I figured it was. My best guess is that it's Alec Baldwin doing his best. Like someone bet him. Like how many times can you say that guy's
Right.
name?
Or he was just drunk.
I
And he
think
needed
more
to keep saying
movies
it to
should-
remember the name.
I think more movies should do things like that. The SwearNet movie, the Trailer Park Boys out of character SwearNet movie, has the Guinness Book of World Records for most swears in one movie. So the movie that
Like
you're talking about,
433 or something.
yeah, it's out of control. They just talk like I talk in real life. But the amount of times that name is said has got to be some sort of record, because that's not a thing that happens in movies where they say the thing over and over. But I really wanted to see a movie where Freddy Krueger just talks like that, just like.
Have
"Hey,
you seen
bitch."
The Edge, Jason?
No,
The Edge.
no.
That's a very good
It's on
movie.
my Plex. Of course, I bought it legitimately and just
Yeah.
ripped it from.
It's one of the
DVD,
few
and it's on my
movies
Plex.
that I still have, like in physical form. I have a bunch of movies stored at my parents' house, like DVDs, but my Blu-rays is one of the only ones that I was like, I really like this movie, and I don't exactly know why. Like, it's a good movie.
It's not. It's yeah, good, not great.
It's not great. There's just something about it that speaks to me, I guess. And I like the idea of somebody having absolutely no practical experience, but so much knowledge and being able to utilize it. It's like a really interesting idea.
Speaking of names, I have something for you.
Okay.
That's when they said the name of the movie in the movie.
Oh my God.
So at 32:04, they say Dream Master. I think that was close enough. We haven't had that in a very long time, and since we're not doing an MPAA, or that I wanted to put that in. Also, what are your thoughts on a Home Alone of It All segment?
I don't know if there is one. I guess when Freddy gets peed on. That would be it.
What's the Home Alone of it all?
The Home Alone of it all, of course, is when in the movie Home Alone, Kevin McAllister slaps down the blueprint and gets ready for the burglars to come. And as a kid, I always was like, that's the part, that's when the movie that gets going. That's, we're ready, it's happening. It's usually the third act of a movie, but sometimes it can be debated that it happens sooner, it happens later. For instance, last week, we posited that even though Jason was killing people throughout the movie, when he goes on his final act of his final tear and is just killing one person after another, that's sort of the Home Alone of it all. I do have a sting for it, but it has the Home Alone music in it, and it keeps getting dinged. And I know
DMCA'd.
that I know that it doesn't affect us. It just gets us like banned in Russia, but it does leaves a little.
I feel like we're probably banned in Russia already, so
Okay, well I'm gonna play it.
No, you don't have to. I'm just saying. I'm not really concerned about being banned in Russia.
But like, it's pretty
This is
good.
because
Is the
say it.
problem?
Fuck Putin. If you want to be banned in Russia.
Fuck poutine. I love poutine. What do you mean?
The Home Alone of it all.
Yeah, I love it too. I fuck it.
I love poutine so much. I fuck it.
Fuck you, Russia. Stop bombing Ukraine.
Whoa,
I've had,
relax. You
two
don't
and
need
a half
to
glasses of wine.
give them
so
the
this is the kind of
finger.
comedy you can expect from me.
I doubled down. Anyway, that was the Home Alone of it all and the fucking title drop, so we can continue talking about the fantastic film. A Nightmare on
I
Elm
just want to
Street
say,
Part
like,
2.
so we have all the characters have been introduced essentially at this point, right? We've got the calculus nerd who shows up. We've got the leather jacket, big haired, like sort of punk,
Exercise.
Sheila,
exercise
Debbie.
woman.
Yeah, she's
I'm not
obsessed with working
memorizing
out.
there's no reason for me to put these names in my brain. I gotta remember other important information like
I'm that guy. I do that.
how to use a fork and stuff. I'll forget.
Rick the karate guy.
Rick the
Rick.
karate guy.
The
Yeah.
Karate Kid part.
We'll call him Rick Shaw because that's just like a horrible joke.
Made me legitimately laugh.
I mean, it would have been worse if he was like an Asian actor and they just like cast him to be like a karate guy. Right?
Oh yeah. No, that would have been way worse.
Yeah.
Especially with a white sister and dad.
He's like, I'm adopted. That's why I love karate. He also clearly didn't have any kind of karate lessons. He was just punching a bag and
That's what I
kicking
kept
high.
thinking.
Yeah, like
He's
he
His
didn't
doing-
karate
have
was
any-
real bad.
They
Yeah,
give him
he
a
didn't
karate
have-
He had some
montage.
acrobatic skills, but
Yeah, he could kick high and he could punch straight.
They
but,
played this kid off like pretty cool, but kind of weird. But he loves karate. But he's
I like
doing all
his
karate
clothes.
shit.
I was very into his clothes. I was like, I would dress
into his
like
hair.
this.
But
I
the
was like, that
reality-
hair, it's
Yeah.
spiky without seeming like he tried to make it spiky. It seems like he just woke up and his hair was like that tall.
The
Yeah, he was
reality
like a Dragon
though,
Ball Z character.
of that character is he would be ridiculed endlessly. If
It might have been. We didn't see him interacting.
no,
with
but he's
anyone
like
outside
friends
of his
with the
close
he's
knit
friends with that one jock who like stands up for him.
Dan.
Yeah, that's
Dan
what
the man.
that's called good. That's good. It's a good thing.
I know it's
That's
good.
It's just good.
My
Jason's
point-
like, if I was in that high school, I would
would've
have bullied him
bullied him.
relentlessly.
I would have kicked his ass with my own
Relentlessly.
karate, my fists.
What
and
I
him
find weird though,
falling
if we're
down.
gonna bring up Dan the jock, so Dan the jock
The
who
most
ends up
useless
getting
character ever.
romantic, most useless character, but he gets romantic with Alice has a crush on him like right from the beginning. She daydreams about calling him a major league hunk.
There we go.
And
I
he's
couldn't remember
into
what it
in
was.
the
Like, did
daydream.
she call him a hunk of meat
You
or
are
something?
one major league hunk.
Hunk. Ba 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 boom. Ba 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 boom. Ba, ba,
But
ba,
then,
boom, boom.
so Rick, wait, what is it? Trying to remember exactly who shows up at the cafe. Like Rick and Alice. No, Rick and Kristen show up at the cafe, and Alice is working, and Kristen's freaking out because Freddy's back.
Yeah.
And Rick's just like, hold on a sec, and runs over to the table full of jocks. And like, I'm so curious about what that conversation was.
Yeah, because he was looking
like-
for him for a specific
Yeah, he's like,
reason,
I
which
need
we
to
never
talk to
figure
Rick.
out what it is.
I thought it was
clearly
to
in a
bully
big
him
rush. Kristen's like, we
relentlessly.
gotta go. And he's like,
Maybe
hold on, I gotta ask Dan so I can hook him up with my sister. Like that's what I imagine is happening. Is
Oh,
that,
I thought that Rick was
Oh,
maybe a
she's
drug
got-
dealer or something.
Oh
no,
yeah.
he's a clean cut friggin' jock man. That guy's not
he's
on.
selling. He does cocaine. Do you see how sweaty he was after doing all that karate? He was only doing it for 1 minute.
He would be.
He was only doing
You don't
karate
know.
for
There
10
could have been a
seconds.
time lapse in there. The fact that he was sweaty before the karate, that was the suspicious
He
part.
just does a bunch of blow and then starts fucking
pretending
That's
like
why
he
he
knows
was so
karate.
energetic. And, yeah.
Why does he have a whole dojo in his bedroom? That's the pretty crazy too.
It's the garage.
Or the garage. And then
And that's his superpower that Alice inherits is just being high on coke because maybe he was high on coke when he died. So
No, it's a
just
combination of
inherited
being
being
high
high
on
on coke.
cocaine and pretending like you
And
know how to do
thinking-
karate.
yeah.
which is the best way to pretend to do karate.
Yeah.
I know my friends always. Never mind. We got a great scene where he actually tries to teach Kristen a little bit of karate, and she Alice some karate, and
Yeah.
she kicks her shoe off into a fish tank, which I thought was funny.
Swish, kill the
Yep.
fish.
Swish killed the fish, and then we get the who goes to the nurse's office, and then it's Robert Englund.
Oh, Kristen.
Kristen, yeah.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
whole
I
sequence
wanted to
was
say I love
crazy.
Robert Englund as the nerd. I love anytime he shows up as not Freddy
Yeah.
in any of these movies. It's great. Like in the which is the one? It's the third one. No, it's the fifth one when it's the house or son of a thousand maniacs, right? With the whole
Yeah. Yeah.
insane asylum and everything. I love he's one of the maniacs in the insane asylum in that sequence.
And you're like,
I just
oh,
love
I
those
wonder
little.
which
It's
one is Freddy's dad.
yeah, but I love it's just like it's almost like a cameo, except it's not a cameo because he's the star of the movie.
Well, I mean,
I love those moments.
we're very familiar with what Robert Englund looks like outside of makeup, but in these movies, they don't really show him outside of makeup or like
Yeah, and you
pre
wouldn't have
getting
really
murdered
known back then.
until Freddy versus Jason. I think
Yeah.
is the first time you see, or no, there's one where it shows him
No, New
before,
Nightmare.
where he like murders his wife or whatever.
Oh, I don't know. No, New Nightmare. He plays Robert Englund, and
Oh
he's
yeah, New
painting
Night,
a
yeah,
picture
yeah.
of the demons
And
asylum.
he's like, I have to get back to my painting. It's
Yeah.
very important. He's painting with like paintbrushes on each finger. That'd be so funny.
Can't wait.
No, that doesn't happen. I just made it up.
I want to
there's-
draw some blood.
So there's the maniac. There's this one. I think is the first time we see him. I don't think you see him in 3 or 2 or 1 outside of the makeup.
In 3
I
they
don't think
don't
so.
do a flashback, but I'm guessing in 5 they do a flashback to the asylum that's in the new asylum in 3. Because I saw a still of him like with a mustache or something. That's because I was looking
They
at
start
a timeline.
bringing him in more after this because
Okay.
I think they realize like, oh, this is kind of fun to have him because people don't immediately recognize him, but they can. And the fact that he's basically in drag, and
It's like if you're paying attention, you recognize him.
it's
but if you're not
very
paying attention, you might
reminiscent
not.
of the Joker,
The
in the
Joker
Dark
in
Knight.
Dark
Yeah,
Knight, yeah,
where he's
that's what
just
I
dressed
mean.
as like a
Mhm.
classic nurse, with like a little square hat on or whatever.
Speaking of, when they're at that diner, Debbie is dressed like a complete dickhead, dressed like an old school diner get up, and then like other people working there are just dressed normally. So that's something.
They have
I
a
picked up.
uniform, but she just doesn't modify hers.
Yeah.
I kind of liked the attitude of the calculus character. Like
I liked that character a
She
lot,
was
actually.
fun, and she
Yeah,
kind of
I had
reminds
a
me of
mini
Cass
crush
a little
on her.
bit. I don't know if you got that, Jason. I was like, this character kind of reminds me of Cass. I think it's because of the
Yeah,
glasses.
I could see it. The
but-
glasses.
and the height.
Also, it's interesting to see a character like that from that era, like a smart, like a nerd girl, not played by like the stereotypical like dude. You know,
Right.
a nerd girl was interesting to.
Wait a minute. Girl nerd?
Girl nerd
Who's not obsessed with her body? She likes to talk about her mind. What was it? She's like, just remember my motto, mind over matter. And she like looks her up and down and is like, who gives a fuck about your hot body? One day it's gonna deteriorate and you're gonna have no brain, man.
Yeah, ironically, that actor was outside of the movie. It was pretty like take her glasses off and she's a babe situation.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And
But
I thought that
I
they
do
were
want
gonna
to talk
make that
about the
joke in
effect
this
a little
movie.
bit because
Which one?
it's something that like I think horror movies around this time they weren't able to do gore effects and prosthetics for anybody other than white people convincingly.
Mhm.
And like the effect is really cool when she gets
Oh, when
like
she gets
all of
sucked.
her body. So I guess we should talk about the scene. She has asthma and Freddy takes advantage of that, and it doesn't seem like she's scared of her asthma, but it is her like weakness technically.
I will say what I did notice about this is in the opening credits, one of the first credits is a special effects company. So they definitely didn't just like make the special effects with like an in-house team. They like, and interestingly too, when Freddy comes back to life, which we didn't talk about, he gets reanimated a lot like Come to Daddy does in Hellraiser.
I think I'm gonna talk about the effects like a lot once we get
Sorry, I just
going
wanted
a
to.
little bit.
I knew you were going to get into it, so I just want to do a little preamble to.
Yeah, I mean, all the effects are very impressive. But I guess we can talk about that one first. I just want to talk about this one because I watched the Eddie Murphy movie where he plays Rudy Ray Moore kind of recently, and it kind of like opened my mind to the perspective of like, oh yeah, there was a time where like only white people were cinematographers and key grips and knew how to light and were makeup artists on film. And when there would be black people in movies, especially when like it moved to color and everything, color film, um, they didn't know how to properly apply makeup to people. They didn't know how to light people properly. They didn't know how to do anything outside of like stereotypical
That's part of
white
what I was
skin.
getting at. I didn't want to be like, and she's black, but a black female nerd was like that. I've never seen that character in the 80s.
I'm specifically talking about the special effects in that
I
character.
know, but I'm just saying.
So like I
It ties into what you're
noticed
saying, too, as well.
that like the special effects for the character when her arms are like turning into bug arms and stuff, right? Like it matches her forearm to the point that you can't really see the difference or the seams or anything. And when it was her being crumpled down, it's like the skin texture doesn't match, the color doesn't match.
Yeah, it's very rubbery looking.
It doesn't, and I mean like that's the kind of the point of the gag, but like it doesn't match at all. And I think I didn't really look too deeply into it, but I think that like this might have been one of the moments where people are like, we need to maybe study this a little bit more, because it's not more difficult to do these effects on different skin types other than white people. It's just that it's a different process, right? And like I don't think that people were really practicing it as well. So like when it comes down to having an effect like that, it kind of loses its impact a little bit, because you're like, oh, there's something wrong about the way it looks. And then you look at like, you know, I brought up the bug one before, and it's like you can see that it's her real arm, and you can't really tell where the seam is until the bug comes through. And you can see like the exact moment when it changes in that moment, specifically because to me at least, it's like it looks powdery and it just looks like a completely different color skin. And all I would say is shame on you, Dream Master, for not taking a little bit more time with that. But you know, it gets better. And the reason that I brought up the Dolomite movie, have you guys ever seen the Dolomite movie?
No, but I know what it is. It's kind of
like years and years ago, I think.
Right. So like Rudy Ray,
like
Rudy Ray Moore was like a character actor in the 70s, and he had this character Dolomite.
Oh yeah, that movie.
Like,
was it the movie you're talking about was called Dolomite, right? It was Netflix from probably like 5 years ago or so.
And yeah, Eddie Murphy plays Dolomite, and there's a sequence in that movie where he's hiring people to work on his film, and he doesn't want to hire the people that have been provided to him because they're white, and it's not because they're white that he doesn't want to hire them. It's because he knows that they won't be able to light the different skin tones, and he wants to hire like people to do the makeup properly. And it made me kind of like think about it. I'm like, holy shit, there must have been like a time where there was like this really difficult learning curve for like just regular makeup artists being like, I think this is how I'm supposed to do this. I don't know.
You know, we could just hire black people.
Light white to dark white, which you fall under.
Yeah, I have pink. Is pink work? Anyway, that's just a bit of like interesting film history that I then like looked into a little bit more, and I didn't even consider it for these types of special effects that much, because like when you think about these types of horror movies, it is primarily white people that have like the major effects going on, right? And like I think that's a pretty major effect, and I can't really think of a lot of other examples before this, especially in like the Freddy series, Jason, Chucky.
I mean, Kincaid gets one of the worst kills. I hate the kills that are just.
But like his is just like he gets stabbed in the gut, right?
Yeah.
There's no like crazy prosthetics that are used or anything like that, right? I think in the next Jason movie, or no, the 8th Jason movie, the guy like is boxing him on the rooftop and he gets his head knocked off. And, like that's the only other prosthetic I can think of in a Jason movie. But then you get to the point where like Jason versus Freddy, and you really have those prosthetics, and it's like they've clearly solved the problem. But it's interesting to think that like this movie came out in '88. It's not like it's buried deep in the past, right?
That has
they still have issues.
That has a that has a scene in it with a racist joke waylaid into a homophobic joke.
Well, I said you know how he says bitch all the time? He says sweet fresh meat.
Yeah.
So sweet fresh meat. He says so sweet, except he doesn't say fresh meat. He says dark meat. You're like,
Yeah.
oh god.
And then she
Krueger,
calls him.
go back to
Then
hell.
she calls him the F slur. So and that's what's her face from Destiny's Child.
He actually looks offended when she says it too. He's like, what? Holy shit, lady. Don't you know it's 2003? Yeah. You can't say that anymore.
Did you guys notice? Sorry, what were you
I do
saying?
want to talk about. Should we just go into like all the special effects at this point? Like because like I've already gone on like a huge rant about that one special effect. Like you talked about. This,
I mean,
the skeleton is.
Yeah,
It's pretty clear how they did it, but it looks
something
great.
different. But if we want to stay on this subject, you have a lot to say. So why don't you keep going?
Well, because that's the star of the movie, right? We've said it already. It's the reason that people are here is to see these crazy things. But
with Freddy's one-liners.
Yeah, Freddy's one-liners and a naked lady underneath his chest skin going.
Yeah, that was so cool. That's probably my favorite special effect in the movie is when like all the souls are like clawing out of his chest. Like that was
it was really well done.
Really awesome.
That reminded me of like an H.R. Geiger thing as well, or like when you see shots of hell in Event Horizon or
Oh, man.
or Hellraiser, like when the one woman who I'm pretty sure is Sheila comes up across the front, like it looked so jarring yet a little sensual.
Yeah, Jason as a 13-year-old is like pausing and like going frame by frame, like, oh my god.
I wish. I see. That's the thing. All these movies, I should.
Jason goes, so sweet, fresh meat.
Fresh meat. But that's the thing. Like, if I was watching these fucking movies as a 12-year-old, my hair would have been blown back by all the titties. Because when Joey fucking gets murdered, it's so funny to me how his death occurs, because this happens to me in real life in the year of our Lord 2023, where you're literally like, he's reading a magazine and watching MTV, but I'll be on my phone and I'll have music videos or I'll have YouTube on and I'll pass out, right?
Right.
It's so interesting that he's doing the same multitasking in the 80s that we kind of do now. But then what's funny to me is he's got a poster on his wall of like some model, and then he falls asleep, and when he falls asleep, she's in his waterbed, which was a cool effect. They would have had to like build a set over a pool to do this. And then he looks down at her, and we get an extended shot because it's a fucking movie for teens, teen boys probably, especially. And he looks up, and she's gone from the poster, implying that she's, left the poster and gone into the dream world. And then Freddy Krueger, he just turns into Freddy Krueger and just fucking just kills him. And then, of course, the next time they had to get their money's worth from that pool set on it. And then, did you guys notice when he's in the pool, he fucking half blinks? His eyes definitely.
I didn't notice that. Huh?
His eyes definitely flutter a little bit. I rewound.
There's probably some bubble movement happening beneath the mattress. It's interesting. Like, I guess they probably just had a tank or something, right? And you could just like swim out, but it's got to be uncomfortable.
Probably, I kind of wonder if they did it like they filmed that like upside down somehow.
Oh, interesting. I never considered
so that
like
so
the
there was
bag
aired
at
like
the
just
bottom of
behind
the
him,
pool. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, exactly. So that like he wasn't in like a watertight, fully watertight thing.
Further paying
that was
homage-
actually the bottom, and they could just like lift their head up and breathe.
Further paying homage to the Johnny Depp thing, because that was filmed upside down because of he's on like the ceiling and he gets blasted by blood, right?
That was back when they had to like really figure out how to like get
Rotate a
wild
whole
with the
fucking
camera.
room.
Yeah. They weren't like, let's spend $1 million on this woman turning into a cockroach. They're like, let's make a room that rotates.
Oh man, that her turning into a cockroach would be so much grosser because the CGI technology is so good now. But then in 5 years, it would look bad, But this,
I don't know, man. I still I'm at that point where like CGI, there's like they're never really gonna fully get over the uncanny valley, unless they're using practical and digital to like enhance it.
Yeah, but also the TVs keep getting better. So when 8K TVs are like the commonplace thing, everything that looks pretty good now is going to look like shit again.
I know, but our brains are also like programmed to understand when something isn't real. So like CGI is just, it's always going to have a weird, odd effect on your mind, right? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, like CGI done right is what what's his name did with Mad Max Fury Road. Like they use CGI to remove like the wires and
yeah.
cranes and shit from their practical effects. Like that's how you do it,
Hmm.
not
I
just
mean,
making
I wouldn't
everything CGI.
expect any. I wouldn't expect anything worse, anything better, anything. I would expect that quality from the director of Babe 2, Big in the City, you know, because
And
that's
Happy Feet.
and Happy Feet.
And the first three Mad Max movies. Let's not forget that he didn't just jump from
Oh,
like
I
Happy
forgot
Feet
about
to
those.
making Mad Max.
No, he made Babe 2, Pig in the City, and then he made Fury Road, and then
Yeah.
then he started making Furiosa, and then the pandemic happened.
And he's very old,
Sure did.
so I don't know, man. He might be
Yeah.
like, I can't
Yeah.
do it anymore. Talk about the ultimate old man flex, though, like just coming back to the world of action and being like, let me show you how it's done.
Yeah, I love it. Especially
why-
when like I don't know if was it Avengers Endgame or Age of Ultron that came out like roughly the same time, and like Mad Max was so much better.
I
Like
think it was
it's
Age
just
of
like
Ultron.
Joss Whedon, like move aside. You don't
Because
know how to
Age of
direct
Ultron isn't
action.
very good,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
The action was Joss Whedon is
Also
he
with,
just
like, a-
stopped making movies.
Kind of like a predominantly feminist take on the Mad Max world, which is interesting, and I was into. I want to know what his like take on this Furiosa story is, because she was definitely more interesting than Mad Max.
Yeah, Mad Max was like a self-insert, like he was the audience while he's watching all this crazy shit happen around him. Is how I kind of read
He was
that.
just there to make sure it was still a Mad Max movie.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Mad
my
Max.
name is on the poster. Yeah,
Man, have you guys seen the first Mad Max? Like
yeah.
that character's actually got depth. If you look, like, go back to the first one, like man, that's one fucked up movie.
Yeah.
Like the Road Warrior, the original.
That's number 2.
That was the second one.
Oh,
Yeah.
which one's
The first
the one
one's just
with
Mad
the
Max.
guy in the little helicopter?
That's 3.
That's 3.
Yeah, Terrordome or
Yeah.
Thunderdome.
Okay, well,
That's the Tina Turner movie.
I've seen one of
Had that
those
soundtrack on
all the
vinyl.
way through.
It's
They were
seen which all
looking
the way
for
through?
gasoline. They were in Australia.
called Guzzling. God damn it. The
Um,
bullet farmers need guzzling. Anyway, let's get back to this movie. Maybe one day we'll do a George Miller month. So I mean, we can keep talking about the effects if we want, or we can just talk about them as we get to them. But like,
Well, at the point that I am in the movie is Kristen gets roofied by her mom, who she thinks needs to take a sleep, and that I thought
You
that
just
the-
murdered me. Take that to your therapy.
You're making fun of it, but I
take that to
thought
the bank and smoke it.
that was a heavy moment because there was no way she wasn't going to
Yeah.
die. It wasn't like she's going to get out of this. I'm looking at my watch and I'm like, there's an hour left in this movie.
She's dead.
She's fucking toast.
No, I mean, I've seen the movie a million times, but I recognize it just as like this is how we get past Act 1. This is how we get past the characters from the last movie, so we can move on. Like it's they
Yeah,
just
they
want to
didn't
get rid of those
introduce
three as
like
quick as
10 more
possible.
people to die for no reason.
Yeah.
What did you guys think of that entire sequence of her calling Alice to have a good dream, and then she goes into the? Is it an implication that little girl is Alice?
Yeah.
When she was a little girl,
I think so. That's how I read it.
like
Oh, I didn't read that at all.
like she
But
was one of
maybe,
the
yeah.
children who grew up in Elm Street world, but didn't get anything bad happen to
What
her.
I was hyper focused on though is Freddy appearing as a shark with a shark
Yeah.
fin that was claws that
Shark
turn
fin
into
hand.
his actual claws that go through the land underneath a sandcastle, which then explodes into him standing with him
Sandcastle
with him
exploded.
having shades
and
on.
he stands there like it's a fucking Michael Jackson, like one of those like Michael Jackson concerts where he just like a firework goes off and he like launches through the air and lands like.
Yeah.
It kind of
Just
reminded me of that.
It was
Spins in the box.
campy,
Yeah,
it was goofy, but I like popped. I was like, "Oh my god, that's amazing!" Just because it's so silly.
I like that he puts
It's like total
sunglasses
fan
on.
service and like marketing. Like it was
Yeah.
probably mostly done for marketing, but
'Cause
like
they
it's
wanted
also
to
fan
sell-
service. Like
Yeah.
all
They
the
wanted to sell
superhero
pictures
movies
of
are
Freddy
now.
with shades on.
with like a Tropicana or a Sunny D in his hand, like yeah, it's got vitamin C,
Probably.
bitch.
You know what I'm gonna do after this? I'm gonna look up like ads
Freddy Krueger
where like
ads from the
Freddy was
80s.
like a spokesperson for Sunny D or whatever. There's got to be some good ones.
If you find any,
Or like a
them-
spokesperson, and he like stabs the executives.
Spokesperson.
Yeah,
Send them to me, and I'll post them on the Instagram.
I like that he put sunglasses on, but I hate that he put sunglasses on with both hands, like a child, like a little child. Like, but he doesn't
One
like
hand
this.
has this clunky.
I know,
claw,
but
yeah.
because he's got one, he's holding one normally, and the other one he's like,
Yeah, and then the other one he's like,
this, like.
Oh, Tim in the chat is calling for a Miller month. So
Oh, John.
we'll watch
George Miller month.
George Miller movies and drink Miller Lite.
Oh God.
Drink
Some Miller
Lite.
thrillers.
Drink Miller Lite every time it's good. Every time the movie is good, and we just die.
So he stuffs her into quicksand, which, quicksand was big in the 80s.
Quicksand is something that this is a joke that people always make, but we thought that growing up, we saw so much quicksand, we thought it was going to be a real life thing that we're going to have to deal with later in life. I've never seen it. It's basically not even
Perfect
a
Stranger.
real
I remember
thing.
Perfect Strangers specifically. They just encountered quicksand in like the woods. They weren't even anywhere that there was sand. It was just quicksand in the woods.
I gotta tell you though, once I was taking kids on a nature walk. I used to work at a summer camp, and I took kids on a nature walk through a boggy area, and one of the kids wandered off and started getting sucked into the bog, and then I had to go out and grab him, but then I started getting sucked into the bog, so I had like 10 kids on the side of this bog. And I was like, just throw me anything, like an Indiana Jones movie.
And
I had to,
that's a snake.
I had this
Bogs
kid
are
under
no
my
joke.
arm.
Why don't
like,
they use bogs instead of quicksand? Like quicksand hardly exists.
Yeah.
Like it's
I don't
pretty
think
much
anyone's
non-existent.
actually
But bogs
died
are
in quicksand. Yeah,
You can't
Bogs
die
are
in
everywhere.
quicksand. It only goes down.
bogs
so
are
far.
everywhere and terrifying.
There's
And
other kinds
the
of
thing about-
quicksand that you can actually get, that you can actually die from, but quicksand you can't.
Yeah, they're called
actually
bogs.
die.
yeah, it's called a bog, Jason.
Yeah,
Also, the dog's name was Jason.
Was
Jason.
So you guys don't know.
Yeah.
which I thought might have been a reference because the 6th Friday the 13th
I think it
came
is.
out.
So I wrote down a question here. Jason, do you have flaming piss?
I do. I piss flames all the
Oh my
time.
god!
I
You
I
go to the
sweat,
bathroom and it's like,
I sweat gasoline while I piss fire because I'm a man. I'm goddamn mean.
Yeah, normal people go to the bathroom and you hear a regular urination sound when they're peeing in the toilet, but when Jason goes in, it's just
And me going, ah!
and in
I
the
don't-
garden
Screaming because you hope your
it's
dick
planning.
doesn't burn off.
I don't know. It's made of metal. I also wanted to point out that not only is she like dying in quicksand, but he just puts his foot on her head, pushes her down.
I love that. I actually really like that. He's just like, "Fuck you."
And I was
See you
like,
later.
Stomp you down.
oh, what a way to go. But underneath, of course, is the
And then
Nightmare on
laughs
Elm
to the
Street
heavens with his Ray-Bans on.
home. Yeah. But she falls down into the, I keep wanting to call it the Friday the 13th house, but it is the nightmare. It is the titular Elm Street home. It's in
1428, baby.
it's in the hell.
Yeah,
house.
which is not Freddy's house. It's just Nancy's house. Like
Just
Nancy
Nancy's
keeps.
house,
I think that like he haunts it most because that's where his glove was. Like that's the whole thing
Yeah,
in the first.
in the,
is, like,
the boiler.
yeah, they put his
the
glove in
furnace
the
or whatever.
boiler room.
She
yeah.
also like summons him back in the first movie and kills him there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's where he
Yeah.
died the second time, I guess.
He
That's
should
where they stopped believing in him and he
because in the first
disappeared into
Speaking of
mist.
Home Alone, that first movie had the Home Alone of it all. Like she set up all the traps and
Yeah.
everything. Like
True, I think we
that
talked
movie is
about
Home
that.
Alone before Home Alone.
because I think he came from the school originally in the first movie. He would
Yeah, he was a
would make
janitor or
people-
something.
He would dream people to the school to like open. He was a janitor, yeah. Yeah, because there's that Simpsons episode that's a parody, the Treehouse of Horror, where groundskeeper Willie is
where he's
Freddy.
like, I've come for your children,
It's canon.
but you can't save them in their dreams. And then Chief Wiggum goes, well, yeah, how you going to get them? Skeleton powers? Which is very funny to me. Skeleton powers?
skeleton powers.
I like that. So after this, this is where
Kristen
she uses her powers
Yeah.
to bring Alice into her dream because she realizes that no one else can come save her anymore. Her dream warrior friends are all dead.
So what's Kristen's power? She's like so pure of heart that she can accept the ability, and then she can Pokemon all
I
the
think
rest
it's more
of the
like you're
abilities?
tortured enough
mean
that
Alice?
you. Oh yeah,
Alice. Yeah, sorry.
No, Kristen's power is that she can pull people in. Alice, yeah. I guess how it's this. Okay, can I
Is she
just
pure
go on
of
a
heart?
tangent a bit about
I
Alice
took it as
and
pure
being
of
the
heart.
Dream Master?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, she seems pure heart. I'm definitely not arguing that, but like, it feels a bit contrived to me. I mean, it's a stupid fucking plot, so of course it's contrived. But just that she's just like, oh, have you heard the poem of the Dream Master? It's like, oh, okay, like I see what's going on here. You're the Dream Master, and she's just like, well, when your dreams are all you have, you kind of become an expert. And it's like, okay, so you're the Dream Master then. You're the Dream Expert, and you're the Dream Master.
Because she's
And
constantly
I kind of hated it
daydreaming. Yeah.
because she's constantly daydreaming. I just thought it was fucking stupid.
See,
It's my
that's
least favorite part of the movie.
that's kind of what we're saying, though. Like, if you expound on that a bit more and add more story to it, it can be an interesting thing. But they don't. They maybe show don't tell a little too much with the daydreaming parts, because my assumption was that she's always daydreaming. She's kind of like the Hulk. She's like, well, my secret is that I'm always daydreaming. And that's where we get the scene with the classroom and like, we haven't talked about the fact that when she's in the classroom, after Freddy sucks her dry, the fucking windows just explode. And I'm pretty sure everybody
There's so much that doesn't make
experiences
sense.
That's when he gets. That's a different part. She gets sucked dry and she has an asthma attack and dies in the room. The windows blow out when her brother gets thrown through the window, and I think that's her her daydream powers are manifesting when he gets thrown through the window by Freddy. She kind of
manifests things in real life a little bit, like the way like the second one. Like it wasn't even dreams at all in the second one, right? It was all Freddy just like doing stuff by
It was like a possession movie, yeah.
It was kind of like that a little bit, where like the dreams were starting to manifest themselves in the real world. The other thing I noticed was towards the beginning, when Kristen and Rick or whoever it was walked by, and then behind them there's the glowing claw marks on the lockers. I'm like, why is that there? Like, no one can see that. This is clearly just for the trailer.
It's for us, guys. Yeah, but I like that fucking lighting coming through there. It is a nice shot. It should not have been.
It looks cool.
Yeah,
it looked cool, but it made no sense.
It was definitely for a trailer, and like for some reason they left it in. I don't think it's meant to be there
because they didn't film an alternate like version of that scene. They're just like, oh, I guess we gotta keep that cloth.
Just real quick,
because we don't have another shot.
It's not supposed to actually be there. It's supposed to be like us as the audience being like, oh, Freddy's watching.
Oh, Freddy is coming.
He's coming.
Didn't expect that to happen.
Speaking of just filming things for the trailer, the second Borat movie came out, and there's a thing on Amazon that's just a half hour of just like cut content. And I watched it the other day, and most of it was just the trailer, just shots that we used in the trailer and weren't even in the real movie. And I'm watching it going, oh yeah. So I'm sure
I respect that though, because like then you go to see the movie and you haven't seen half of it because the trailers.
Marvel would do that.
I'm done with Marvel.
You're done with Marvel. What's the last thing you watched?
I think so, unless something really intriguing comes out.
What's the last thing you watched that made you go, I'm good? Because Loki's pretty good so far.
The Avengers.
The Avengers movie from like 2014.
No, not the first Avengers. The whatever Endgame.
If you ended at Endgame
or Civil War, was that Avengers? Maybe Civil War was the last one I saw in theaters, and then I was kind of like, I'm done with this.
If you stopped at Endgame, you're good.
I don't know if I saw.
You saw the whole story.
I don't know if I saw Endgame.
The rest of it's just superfluous at this point.
But then they're working on Avengers, Secret Wars. Like Avengers isn't done. Don't fool yourself.
No, I know. I'm just saying that like the original Avengers story is Iron Man 1 to Endgame. That's one 10-year story.
It's done.
You know what I do need to watch is the new Spider-Man like animated ones, Into the Spider-Verse and all that stuff. I have not seen any of those. My kid started watching Into the Spider-Verse yesterday, and I was like, "Holy shit! I need to watch this."
Yeah, across the
he's into it. And
he's
3, so
I've said it on the pod before, but I've been pretty bored by most of the Marvel stuff that I've seen in the last since
with both of those.
Star Wars I can still deal with, but like I understand why you're not sticking around. Marvel, I'm still watching it. I just am like, I don't care. Like Jason was like, you're gonna love Ant-Man if you love Star Wars, and I watched Ant-Man and I was like, this isn't Star Wars. Don't lie to me.
I don't like the pressure.
But I do love Loki, and I actually am enjoying the new Loki series. Like I like Loki as a character.
I'll rewatch The Simpsons. Yeah, he's great.
And I like Owen Wilson's character in that show. I like their relationship together. I think they work very well together, and it's like this buddy cop show where like they're both almost like the same, like in terms of their attitudes, So it's like instead of it being a buddy cop where there's like this really off balance relationship,
yeah.
They're
it's
both
like
just kind of
they
flipping.
almost like they'll like argue sometimes.
It's not an
but then
odd couple; it's a perfect couple.
Yeah, it's like they're too perfect where they almost always agree with each other, and it's like they'll be having an argument and they'll be like, "No, that's what I'm saying. No, that's what I mean." And be like, "Oh, okay. Well, I suppose we can move on then. All right, let's go." Like, good.
I really liked Moon Knight because I mean I loved Moon Knight comics as a kid, and I thought that show was really good because it was pretty like dark and grounded as opposed to like
what
a lot
I
of the over the
need,
top stuff.
what I need just before we move back to the movie, just as in summation about what you guys are saying, what I'm trying to say, having a sequel series to these shows, the new initiative that Marvel wants to do and actually do a second season, I think will be good because they've set up so many fucking characters in just the TV shows. And we now know that they're not going to put these characters in movies because they never do. It's the same as the fucking post-credits. They never went anywhere with those post-credits for the most part. They're going to start doing second series. I really wanted a second series to Moon Knight because they set up so much shit that they didn't pay
totally
off.
bummed there's not a new... Yeah.
Oh, that show also like shit itself.
It
like,
also
nobody
shit
watched
itself.
it.
Nobody cared. I cared. I
Because
liked
no one
it.
knows who Moon Knight is. Like I watched it because I know who Moon Knight is, but if
Yeah.
I didn't know who it was, I would have been like,
That's
whatever.
why I liked She-Hulk.
Marvel's really scraping the bottom of the barrel. On
Moon
this,
Knight
but,
to
I mean,
me, like
I actually
used to-
really like Moon Knight as a kid.
I used to have these like Marvel looking fine, but like a Where's Waldo, but like Marvel when I was a kid. I had like a couple of them.
Where's Moon Knight?
And Moon Knight was always like one of the harder ones to find because he'd be like, there'd be like a bunch of white balloons like everywhere across the whole map, and then he'd be like curled up inside one of the balloons, and you're like, what the fuck, Moon Knight? How'd you get in there? Are you a ghost? Can you travel through walls?
What I found off-putting about Moon Knight was Ethan Hawke just looks so disheveled and like hideous. Which he's a bad guy, and I get it. Like that was
He's
the
got a
point,
bunch
but
of
I'm like,
glasses.
You used to be.
Yeah, he had a
used to be so
contract.
handsome.
He had like a thing where he didn't play villains, and now he's doing his villain round.
He's
like,
still handsome. It's just they're doing that to him to make him look like
Yeah. But it threw me off because I'm like, you were in like Till Sunset. What was that called? After Sunset? Before Sunset?
Fire in the Sky.
Was he in that?
Or the guy that looks a lot like him.
He's in.
I think it was a guy that looks a lot like him. I think nobody. The Fire in the Sky is a bunch of nobodies.
He
I
plays a
believe.
bad guy in Black Phone, and it's a similar kind of vibe, where it's like, why is this extremely handsome man playing a dirty pervert? Anyway, back to this
You guys
film.
seen Training Day? That movie's fucking. No, we're
Training
still
Day
talking about
rules.
Ethan Hawke.
Training Day fucking
Never mind.
rules. You ever have your shit pushed
So
in?
fucking good. King Kong.
Have you ever seen
got shit on Training Day?
Gattaca?
I haven't seen Gattaca, but I've heard it's a movie that.
Funny thing about Gattaca is all the letters in the name Gattaca are the letters that stand for the different DNA proteins.
Oh, I didn't know
And
that.
that's what that movie is about, is genetic manipulation. So
It
that's that's a
That
fun
movie
little
used to.
fact about that movie.
I watched that in school, film school and high school. I think my English teacher in high school was like really into like trying to teach us about like how to not allow the government to, it was like that world is basically like, what if Nazis did take over and they would like get rid of people just based on like genetic predisposition?
Eugenics.
Yeah.
I don't think I can say eugenics on Twitch.
Yeah.
Nope, we're canceled.
Oh my God, they stopped broadcasting. My computer is deleting all the files on my computer.
Tim says that Gattaca is fairly tight, and Danny DeVito produced it, so that's interesting.
Oh, yeah, Gattaca's pretty dope.
It's like, I got a real good idea for a real good picture. It's called Gattaca. And each one of the letters stands for the genetic code of the human disposition.
So anyway, I started
Disposition.
blasting.
Excuse me while I have another kid. Oh wait, no, I'm thinking of someone else. Never mind.
Also,
thought we were doing
all
Pacino.
the people who play those guys in Fire in the Sky are people that you would know.
That's what I was gonna look up.
We're doing that.
Henry Thomas, Elliot himself from E.T.
We're doing that first week.
Peter Berg, the guy who looks like Ethan Hawke.
Look out for
Robert
that.
Patrick, the Terminator.
Robert Terminator.
Oh, damn, yeah.
Robert Terminator Patrick.
Star cameo in Last Action Hero where he plays himself as T-1000. The next note
want to do in the 90s.
The next note that I have here is the nerd made a device that does high sound waves. I wonder if Freddy is going to be susceptible.
The high frequency sounds of
If
dreams.
so, why?
Well, they don't really
sense.
play it off like that. He just gets fucking Anyway, we'll get to it. Let's
Just get zapped. You've been zapped.
Let's move
Yeah.
forward a little bit here because we're coming up on time a bit. What a sucked face. That scene happens. Hey bozos, let's hustle. Alice is immediately falling asleep. What is this theory? There's a dream master. Oh yeah, that we talked about that. Rick also.
I did
falls
want to
asleep.
talk about like Alice is getting drugged for a minute and how she like falls asleep within maybe 5 minutes of
You
drinking
mean
the
Kristen?
Kirsten. Sorry,
Yeah.
As is
murdered me.
the style at the time.
yeah, it's just like, well,
That's
you
just how
drugged
drugs
me
worked
with
in the 80s.
sleeping pills. Like, I am truly confident that if Freddy Krueger was after me, I would be fine because I already can't sleep sometimes for days in a row, just based on my own anxieties. If I knew a knife-handed fedora wearing maniac was coming for me, I would probably just never fall asleep.
Does
again.
anybody do amphetamines in any of these movies except for the one where she's like fucking
Yeah, that's the other thing. I would be able to stay awake on my
second
own,
one or whatever.
and then I could just find amphetamines to stay awake until somebody
I feel
dealt
like-
with the Krueger problem.
I feel like they leave amphetamines out of it, like specifically to like avoid the same thing as Saved by the Bell. Like, what's her name was supposed to be on speed, but ABC was like, make it
No,
caffeine
it's
pills,
caffeine
and
pills.
we got. Yeah, I feel like it's just for the kids. They were like, no,
I think
we can't
Saved
have
by
these
the
kids
Bell
doing speed to
subtext.
stay
We
awake.
can we can figure it out. You know, we don't need to have hard drugs.
If you do dope, you're whack or whatever that fucking.
Don't you know
PSA
that
was.
Sonic the Hedgehog does speed?
Yeah, he has to go.
Sonic
fast
the
or he
Hedgehog
dies.
is speed.
He is speed.
You
All
you
right.
take Sonic the Hedgehog to fucking go to a rave. So we get a weird Rick's nightmare is that a bunch of cheerleaders come in and watch him poop.
Yeah,
Then
I
Chris,
forgot about that.
then Kristen comes in and she's like, "What the fuck is going on here?"
Have you guys never had a nightmare like that before, where you
I
have to like
have.
shit really badly in public, and then there's like only one toilet, and it's like in like a public square where everyone can watch you shit?
No,
I've had
No, but
that
I can believe
so
that's
many
okay.
times.
I've had
Where
the
I'm
naked
like-
in class nightmare though.
And it's not even like I wake up and I have to shit. It's just like in the dream, I'm like, I have to shit, and then I have to take a shit in the middle of like where there would be a fountain in like a square in Italy or something. There's a toilet, and I have to shit there in front of all these people, and I'm so embarrassed.
So
And I'm like, why would they put the toilet here though? And everyone's like, just do it. Like, why?
Speaking of nightmares you would expect your friend to have, this is the part where Rick gets pulled into a dojo and has to fight an invisible Freddy, which I yelled out loud and wrote down, called it, because that's another one of the things they telegraphed. And he almost wins with the power of determination, but then Freddy just fucking roundhouse kicks him to death.
Yeah, I thought that part was dumb.
Yeah. He
I
also
thought that-
dies. He ends up dying from just a claw to the gut too, which is just
Did you guys like the mildly racist music they were playing, where it was the Freddy theme mixed with like a sort of like one of those like
do
lap
it without making the sound effects. Steve.
string information? I don't know, like I can't even like
A
it's
sitar?
like those. No, it's not a sitar. Is one of those stand up.
Right.
That's from like South
Yeah.
Asia, but like there's those lap ones or whatever, right? That people play. I don't know what they're called.
Yeah,
But it was like basically they're playing the Freddy theme on one of those, and you're just like, oh my god.
Does anybody in the chat know what that instrument's called? And don't do the sound effects.
It's just like a plucky sounding string instrument,
Ting,
but you
ting,
like
ting,
hit
ting.
the you sides, and it's like
Yeah.
ding 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 doing 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 ding doing doing.
That's actually pretty good.
yeah,
Thank you.
that's solid.
You're a master manipulator of your vocal cords and most.
I know how to manipulate the sound of my voice.
I don't very
You should
well,
do-
but I try to.
Voice things.
No, baby.
He does voice things.
I know we
Oh,
played
what?
we played an advertisement at the beginning of this episode, didn't we?
Yeah, but it
I was
on
not
a-
listening to that because I didn't get Twitch pulled up in time,
It was
and
silent.
you guys don't have a professional, expensive sound mixer feeding it back into the Zoom,
Well, I
No.
like I do, I
which
did
I'm
at
fine
one
with. I just
point.
didn't.
I don't know why it doesn't
Oh, yeah?
do that. Yeah, it used to play our theme while the theme is playing, but I don't know why it didn't that time, or it didn't. It hasn't for the last like year.
Do you guys find it odd that all of Freddy's new victims are all buried like right next to each other in the graveyard?
Well, because the graveyard is like all his victims.
Actually, what
It's just
I
like,
found
oh
funny,
shit, we're just like shoveling them in here, piling them
what
up.
I
Like,
laughed out
they're
loud
just taking
about,
up all the new space.
I think it was
So
this
I don't
kill.
find that weird. No.
I think it was this kill specifically. He dies, and then they hard cut to the graveyard after we've seen the graveyard 3 times. I thought that was.
But they do that for almost all the kills.
I know,
in this,
but this time specifically, I went, "That's fucking."
it's because you've been
so
worn
funny."
down by
Yeah.
like the dread. You're like, oh my god, another victim. This time you're like, the same graveyard, and they're right next to the other
And
corpse.
they're right next
This is
to the other
crazy.
one.
Yeah.
Tim in the chat.
You guys notice Nancy Thomas?
Yeah,
Nancy
in the
Thompson's,
background, it's
yeah.
other victims.
Oh, I did notice Nancy.
Oh,
Tim in the
God.
chat says, I think it's a steel guitar. You'd see some cliche country band having them, or the electric
No, it's
mayhem.
a
and the
very
Muppets. It's not
Asian
that,
instrument.
though. Yeah, it's you see in like kung fu movies. You'll see.
Yeah, have you ever seen Kubo and the Two Strings?
Yeah, it's a 2-stringer.
It's one of those. I also like that when Kristen dies and Alice wakes up, there's a postcard on her board that says "Greetings from Hell." It's just a postcard from hell.
Yeah,
That's
that was
pretty good.
Yeah, the instrument you guys are talking about is either the Tanbo Yu or the Guzheng,
I think it's the
I
Guzheng.
believe.
Which one is played on the lap?
Yeah, it's the Guzheng. Well, it's on a table.
Okay,
It's
yeah.
quite big. You'd be uncomfortable with it on your lap.
I said,
I
ha
think
ha ha.
Guzheng,
He
Guzheng.
dies, and it cuts back to the graveyard. Ha ha ha. I wrote that out.
I did actually laugh though as well because it shows like the row behind the row we're meant to be looking at is also Freddy's victims, and then and I just am like, is this like a government service? Like the city is like, we've got a plot just kind of ready to go for any time Freddy
And
Krueger
yet-
kills somebody.
Nobody believes that there's a phenomenon that's in dreams killing people. They always
Well,
explain
it's
it away.
very-
He does kind of jump on board before he dies. He
This
says to
movie
Dan, he's like, I
specifically-
don't know, man, we're dropping like flies here. And then he
Yeah.
runs down the hall really
runs-
fast.
Yeah, he runs like a dork.
Yeah.
It
It
was
is
a
very
joke.
like a very comic booky kind of thing where you can jab the audience with something to like look at to be like, oh, that's the other victims of Freddy Krueger. But in cinema, it is just goofy where you're like, oh my god, because it's supposed to be a little bit more, I don't know, sophisticated, I guess. And
That's a big word for this movie.
it's true. That's very true. I'll just move right on then.
I
I already
Keldon in
talked
the,
about the fact that
Keldon
they
in the
didn't know how to
chat
do.
says, Craig, how do we see your posts? I think he's just reading on Google.
Yeah, that one that the Chinese instrument, I just Googled it. I looked up like Asian plucked instrument and
Yeah.
some results came up until I saw what I wanted.
Someday maybe we'll have, if more people come and watch, I would be willing to do I would be producing on the side so people could go and look at stuff, like put stuff in the chat, but that's why. Hi, Keldon. Thank you for stopping in on this eve.
Thanks
Thanks
for
for
stopping by.
Thanks for everybody who's watching. We got 6 people in here watching right now. Oh, I mean, where do
I'm
we
not in the
find
chat.
Craig?
I guess I could go in the chat.
Where do we find
Oh, you want my socials?
Craig Webster on the web? They like you. You
Oh.
got a fan. You got a new fan.
Oh, nice. I used to be on Twitter as Craigor with a 0, but then I impersonated Elon Musk without explicitly stating that it was parody, and they canceled my account.
I think that's your.
So now I'm
your
on Twitter
Instagram.
as Craigor again, and again that's a 0, not an O. And then I think it's Craigor on Facebook. I don't know. I don't do much social anymore because I hate it. But I'll share this stuff to the 5 followers I have on Twitter on my new Twitter account,
Sweet.
or whatever that's worth.
So Alice starts to train with nunchucks because that's what happens when suddenly.
Oh, do we want to talk about the Robert Shea cameo? We get one in every
Oh yeah,
Freddy.
there's that.
Yeah.
Give her hell, buddy.
Robert Shea is the producer of the Freddy Krueger movies. I think he's also one of like the top mans at New Line Cinema, the house that Freddy built, as they call it, and the house that the Golden Compass killed. I guess is the other thing that they call it. He made a lot of money from these movies, and he also appears in all of them. And in this movie, he appears as I guess he's like a philosophy teacher. I don't know. He seems to be speaking about philosophers and just like boring stuff that then puts Alice to sleep in class, where she starts to dream
which I
about her
guess this
brother.
high school has philosophy class. I thought it was like English, like senior, like
Well, they're
English
talking
class. And then
about what are they talking about? They're talking about
I remember it was so boring. Yeah, I mean, I
They're
don't
talking about
remember. I was not
dreams.
paying attention.
They're talking about dreams in the context that there's a good dream and a bad dream. Dream keeper.
I think they're
and
talking about
also
Aristotle. I'm pretty sure he mentions Aristotle within the conversation, but it
Right.
might be like a quote from Aristotle about dreaming.
But it's also the idea that you can manipulate your dreams, which I lucid dreaming, which I actually did one time as a teenager, and I had to practice it for months to be able to do it. And all I was able to do was realize I was dreaming and change the color of the sky, and then I woke up. And that's the only time. And it took like this incredible. I know it sounds ridiculous, but it's like a meditative state almost, where you just
takes a lot of focus and
practice recognizing you're dreaming to the point that you can be in the dream and you can do stuff. And I think that was just a reference to how you could kind of explain what Freddy Krueger is, kind of like in the third one, how they were kind of like, it's these like suicidal teens are manifesting their grief or their mental illness through these suicides, but really it's Freddy killing people within their dreams. And that's what's happening here too. But I think this was a great way to add, right, he talks about Aristotle, and it's a great way to add philosophy to all of this. And it kind of legitimizes the idea of a killer who kills you from in your dreams, because it's kind of a dumb concept. And this movie is kind of a disjointed mess in a lot of ways. But this scene, you're right, it really tied things together, I think. What happened to your background? Are you having a dream?
God. I'm in a dream. Ding, 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 ding.
I'm flickering like the boiler where Freddy's glove is eternally.
Because I have this light next to me that flickers.
Because
Nice,
it's Halloween and it's spooky.
It's just for October, or you like live like that with that flickering light constantly?
I put it on before I go to bed to pretend like I have a fire in my room.
Nice.
Is that real?
So that is this light real?
No, is that what you're saying real?
Oh, I'm not good. Let's move on.
Okay. I'll never know.
So Robert Shea.
Rule number one: we don't talk about each other's bedrooms.
Fair enough.
Robert Shea is the philosophy teacher. He's talking about some boring ass shit that Jason just elaborated on, and she falls asleep, and she dreams about her brother's kung fu dream that he has or whatever, and then that's when he gets thrown through the window of the dojo that he's fighting in, and
Yeah, that's the thing.
Explode.
So Rick's dream, like it seemed like he pulled her in because it was his dream. It wasn't her dream. That was another issue I had with if I'm going to pick apart the plot of the movie.
Well,
It almost seemed like
He
she
fell asleep on the
just,
toilet, right?
It seemed like she was just watching his dream. Like she wasn't in the dream. She was like, it's like she was inside his consciousness rather than being there physically. She was just experiencing the dream through his eyes, or like in some sort of like ethereal way. She was in the room. Like she was like us, basically. We were watching the scene, and so was she. And when he gets attacked by the glove and thrown through the window, she reacts to that as we would as an audience, like, "Oh no, Rick!" And instead of nothing happening, the windows explode in her philosophy class's classroom, and it just everyone witnesses it.
You know what else I love too is that Sheila dies this horrific death in the middle of an exam.
Yeah.
And then same day, Alice is just in another class. Like she doesn't get to go home because her friend just like died beside her. Like
maybe she
is
didn't
just,
want to go home.
going
Maybe
on as usual.
She was maybe scared to go home or something. Like
I would figure the whole school would be canceled. Like
if somebody
it's not
had a heart
Alice that I'm
attack.
focusing on. I'm the fact that like they're just having classes and letting people just go
Actually,
on with period two.
When I was in high school, someone died in their classroom, and we didn't go.
Did
like
you get to go
I
home?
think the people in the class went home, but like no one else did. Like you just heard about it, kind of thing, and you're like, "Holy shit, someone died." They might not have died though. I don't know. Maybe they just had like a crazy seizure or something. I don't remember. I wasn't in the classroom and I didn't hear about it. I was like, do I get to go home because of
They're
this?
like, everybody
And they
else
said,
got to go
no.
home except
It's
for
like,
us.
God damn it.
God
But I
damn
did get
it.
to go home on 9/11. I remember that. I was also very
Yeah, I didn't go to
distraught by
school that
that.
day.
So I was like, oh my God, the world. What's happening to the world?
The old 9/11 go home ability. Right.
So
Once in a
good
lifetime.
old days.
Those are the good old days.
So at this point, she's like in the dream world and like isn't in the dream world, and she goes to the theater and gets sucked into reefer madness. They cut to like Debbie working out for like a second. I guess just
This is where it gets like there's a lot going
There's a
on.
time loop. Yeah.
And I was so I put this Kickstarter up today, so I've been like constantly checking my phone, and I was checking it over and over again, and like I realized that I had no idea what the fuck was going on in the movie. I'm like, wait, I thought that it was she was working out, and now it's something else, and there's a movie happening within the movie, and where am I?
yeah,
There's a
she
lot of
goes
quick
into
cuts.
the theater. She realizes she's like in a dream because all the dead friends are there. Also, I'm pretty sure Kristen's mom was there at one point, so they might have cut her getting killed or something, which is stupid because the parents don't get killed. But there's a wide shot at one point.
Yeah,
where,
Freddy Krueger has no gripe with the people who murdered him.
right?
Just their children.
Just their kids.
Yeah.
Just their kids. So she gets sucked into the movie. The rest of the kids clap for her when she goes into the movie. And there's still an hour left, but like nothing really happens in this last hour. So I'll get through it quick because we've been going 2 hours. This feels like an action hero pacing wise, but it's only 90 minutes long. She meets herself as an old lady in the diner that she works at. This is Alice now. They get a pizza, and then Freddy shows up, and the pizza has like the meatballs are all the faces of the souls, and it's a pretty good effect.
Super awesome.
Yeah, and he eats one. There's a still I found online of him like he's got, I think it's Joey's face as a meatball. He eats them, and
Meatball.
he now has Debbie in his sights, and Alice wakes up, I guess. Alice and Dan go to the rescue too because they know Debbie's targeted, but like they're like still in the dream world at this point too. And Freddy shows up at Debbie's.
He sets up like a time loop.
Yeah, because they also like
That's
crash
the
into
part, right?
Yeah, they also crash into Freddy, and Dan gets hit on the head really bad, and the paramedics show up. But then like Alice is like, "Don't put him to sleep," even though I thought they were in the dream. And then we get the.
It's tough to follow.
Then we get we've talked about this kill a few times in the movie, the cockroach segment, which goes on for a while. You know, she slowly turns from human to cockroach in a very body horror, very well done body horror way. It was the only part of the movie that I actually would like gasped and was like, ugh, and had to like kind of look away. I didn't.
I just picture Jason watching this really good.
Oh my!
Oh, Jesus. Is she turning into a
cockroach? I wrote, that was actually crazy. That was a note that I wrote down in my notes.
Yeah, it was a real Cronenberg moment. Yeah, like you don't get a ton of that kind of stuff in these movies. More so the Freddy movies than any other, but it's usually Freddy that's doing the gross stuff. But this is when you start to see him really start to like transform other people, right? I think in the third movie, there's that part where he like pulls out all the tendons of the one guy and walks him like a puppet.
That made me gasp too. Like there's
because it's gross. Yeah, it's very gross, and like the fact that it's pulling on your wrists and your ankles, you can kind of feel that visually. You're like, oh, my wrists and ankles are sensitive. And in this, you know, like there was a time where the internet was still a little bit like, it's still kind of Wild West at times, but it was very Wild West, and like you'd accidentally see videos you didn't mean to.
Wild West.
Yeah, and like you'd see somebody at a gym like doing leg presses, and their legs would bend the wrong way or something crazy, and you're like,
Actually,
why did that get sent to me?
If you surf TikTok from a fresh account, you fully can see stuff like that still. If you don't have the algorithm working on your side, TikTok and Facebook doesn't have an algorithm seemingly, and you can absolutely accidentally fucking see shit like that still to this day.
I have safeguards in place to stop me from seeing things that I don't need to see.
That's good.
Yeah, me too. Like not having TikTok.
Yeah. Well, no, my TikTok only shows me like mentally ill people making jokes. So
You're just watching your own TikToks,
There it is.
Jason?
Oh,
I don't even take that as an insult. I take that as a compliment. Alice then realizes after all that, Still's like, "Oh, we're asleep," and then we get the best line in the movie where he crushes the thing and goes, "You can check in, but you can't check out." He should have said "bitch," referring to the Roach Hotel. And then I wrote final.
You telling me that he turned someone into a cockroach and then made a Roach Motel reference?
Because she's in a Roach Motel, it turns out. It zooms out and she's in a Roach Motel. And then I wrote final girl time. Because Alice is the only lady left, and we have to have a final girl in an 80s
Funny
horror movie.
thing is that's what was also written in the script. And then it went. She started gearing up.
Yeah.
She puts her brother's headband on her punching hand.
Yep.
She puts on the leather jacket that is reminiscent of her fit friend. She takes a big hit of the puffer.
Yeah. She grabs the sonic fucking sound device.
Right.
So also Dan, like this is also why it's so weird and ambiguous. Like Dan is in the operating room. He gets put under. So he goes into the dream world, but then as soon as his like surgery or whatever the fuck, they don't even do surgery on him. They just
they're like, "Are you all right? I think we're losing him, doctor. Slap him harder."
He wakes up, so he just survives. Like he just doesn't even. There's no denying that he's just fine. And then Alice
put all the blood back in my body.
And then Alice just slams a bunch of sleeping pills and goes into have that final battle with Freddy.
I also feel like at that point she's been awake for so long she could probably fall asleep.
She could just close her eyes and fall asleep.
Yeah.
She takes all the elements of her pals and gets ready. Dream Master. I want an action figure of Alice, and that's real. She looks so fucking cool with the thing on her hand and the jacket and the, I thought that would be a cool action figure to have.
See, I don't know, man. I thought that her character she was so lame throughout the whole movie.
I wrote, what a good character development because she overcame.
Yeah, that's the point.
I guess. Yeah,
she absorbs all the powers of her friends.
She abandoned lame and
stop being lame.
Adopted fame, but she's kind of like the end result of how she looks at the end of the movie when she goes into the dream world should have been like a crazy hyper realized version of what she had put on, right? Like she puts on all
exaggerated
this, like the collar on the
like
jacket
in
should be like a crazy Dracula collar with like spikes coming off of it, and she has like
like
three
in
mohawks
Dream
or
Warriors
something.
when the girl had like the
well, I was gonna say that's the Dream
spikes
Warriors
on the leather jacket and everything.
Does that basically.
Like she should have gone in looking like something that Freddy might for a minute be like, what the fuck? Like instead of just like looking like she's wearing a bunch of other people's clothes.
Well, it's not Dr.
Which he might still say what the fuck too.
That's true, yeah.
Then they have a preliminary,
or she just dresses exactly like Freddy, like she's wearing the same sweater and hat and glove.
They have a preliminary battle with Freddy in a kaleidoscope. I figured out is what it was.
Oh right, is that? Oh, that's what it was supposed to be.
I think so. That's what I. Right. And the end of it, the glass part of the end is a stained glass window.
That makes so much more sense. Yeah, and then they go to a church.
They're in a church.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was going.
That makes more sense. Yeah.
I was like, "What is this weird funhouse shit?" And then I noticed the little like holes on the side, and then the glass at the end. And as it was turning, I know a kaleidoscope you just turn like usually two pieces, or like even just like the lens. But I was like, "This is absolutely a kaleidoscope because the little light things on the side."
I've never used a kaleidoscope. I don't know.
Really? Well,
I wasn't allowed to when I was a kid. My parents were scared that it might get me hooked on drugs.
Is that a real thing?
No, I'm making it up.
Okay.
I don't know I don't know why you.
Man, what I would like to try
still.
is drop some acid and use a kaleidoscope.
Yeah, that's what my parents are scared.
Like
of.
now that you put those two pieces together, I'm like, that is a good idea.
I thought that kaleidoscopes were a gateway drug to acid.
Take acid and use a viewfinder, bro.
Nuh-uh. Acid's a gateway drugs to kaleidoscopes.
Oh shit.
That still make you want to use kaleidoscopes.
Like Breaking news. Last night, every single kaleidoscope shop in Toronto was broken into.
So then I have
All signs point to one guy.
Yeah. You have like so many
It's
of
just
them.
me.
Like,
Try them all.
yeah.
Alice's final girl. She kicks the shit out of Freddy with no issues.
Yeah, she does.
Then she has all the powers combined. You got their powers, I got their souls, he says. And then they have like just a fucking straight up kung fu fight.
Yeah, to I'm a soul man for some reason.
Yep.
I'm a soul man.
I've been guarding my gate for a long
What
time.
version of the movie did you
bitch.
watch?
The good version in my brain. My dream. I'm the dream master. I can make anything I want
Oh,
in my
that,
head.
that was the one bitch of the movie. I wrote it down. I've been guarding my gate for a long time, bitch. And then some actual good cinematography for the fucking fight. It felt like an action movie, which was pretty good. She used the sound ray thing to so this part was weird, right? Like she just rips some wall off and grabs a electrical wire and then shoots the sound ray, and then it.
She's the dream master. She conjured it. She just needs a point to conjure. She can't just conjure it out of nowhere. She has to it has to make sense within the context of the dream, right?
And then
She's got to punch a hole. Yeah.
shoots,
like a totem, like to focus on, kind of thing.
Right. Exactly.
I thought that there, you know how like Venom and Spider-Man, you have to like do a sound wave to like confuse the symbiote to get off the person. I thought that's what they were gonna do with it, but instead she just shoots a fucking laser through his chest that's like this big.
Yeah. It's a
You see
sonic
his
beam. It's a
heartbeat.
sonic boom.
Yeah,
Haven't you ever
Sonic
played
Beam.
Street
Sonic
Fighter?
Beam.
Yeah.
Sonic
Beam.
But yeah, his heart's still beating, and he's like, I'm eternal, and
That's the one effect I think in the movie that did not work. Like in terms of like the special effects all over are great, and there's not a ton of compositing, and the compositing that is there you can forgive. But when it's just a shot with this clearly composited like hole in his chest that like he's moving and like and it's like not really moving, matching up to him, and it just doesn't look great. It's like why do it? Why not just have him have like a big gaping like impression or something, you know, like a big like dented in thing that's like bloody and gross. Why does it have to be a perfect hole?
yeah.
What's with the perfect hole? Everybody wants a hole to go
Everybody
through
wants a
people,
hole.
and it almost never works.
The heart
me one-
beating was like an added effect to that, though. I thought it was a nice little.
Yeah, but it still looks like shit. Like
What,
when you're
what would have happened now though is it would have like, but in this he just like waves his hand over and it's just fine.
yeah, he does a magic trick.
Yeah,
He
which
goes,
I thought
now
was
you
kinda
see
lame.
it. No, you don't.
Speaking of seeing, it turns out that you can defeat Freddy if you show him a picture of his own face in a mirror. Which
Just like the
yeah.
like the picture of Dorian Gray.
Yep,
This movie is way
That's-
smarter
yep.
than us, guys.
it's not what the picture of Dorian Gray is
Yeah,
at all.
I'm sure that's exactly what they were going for.
No,
was
in the picture of
Oscar
Dorian Gray, you
Wilde,
have to destroy the.
Yeah, you
reference
have to
to
destroy the. Don't you have to destroy the person who painted it? But also, it's a
No.
painting that just steals your
No.
life essence and the painting gets younger. and
No, it
older.
ages for you and takes any damage.
Yeah, it
you
doesn't
take.
steal you. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
It's a gift from the gods. or
It also
whoever. I don't know.
embodies your inner monster. So if you murder someone, you'll go back and your hands will be covered in blood in the picture. And ugh.
That's awesome. So I guess seeing him is his weakness. She hits him with the mirror, and the souls escape. The effect of him. First of all, the effect of him.
And then Soul Man starts playing again. I'm a soul man.
he's getting stuck to the thing, and the hands are coming out, trapping him, while Soul Man plays. And then his head rips. His head rips in half, and the souls escape.
Someone grabs his jaw
Yeah.
and rips. It's great. It's
It's
really
awesome.
good. And then he's kind of stumbling around for a bit with just this like bottom jaw only with gas coming out of it, and he's like, ah, shit. I don't know if that's what he said, but it's good. It's pretty good.
He's just saying muffled noises.
But I mean, we already talked about it. That is probably the most impressive.
yeah, like that scene
Special
goes
effect.
on, like the whole, all of it goes on for about 5 minutes also, because it's such a progression of the hands coming out, showing like close-ups of like a large, whatever the opposite of a miniature is, a large of the actual actor's faces coming out and being pressed back, and then like the
They do this
regular
sort of
side
like,
with miniature faces.
it's similar to what they did with Gremlins and stuff, right? Like they
Yeah,
use this like macro version of a
macro. That's a
chest
good,
cavity
right.
to have the faces, and but the way they cut it, it's seamless to the point that at first, because they have the little animatronic faces on his chest, and then it cuts back to him, and then it cuts back to those, and they look still like the animatronics for a second, and then they start moving around more, and you're like, oh, that's a real person's face under like a thin layer of latex or whatever. And the more you watch it, the more you're, because usually these types of things you need to cut away quickly, or else people start to use their Sherlock Holmes powers of deductive reasoning to be like, this doesn't make any sense, and you do figure it out in your head, but it still looks really, really good, and it is quite disturbing. Out of like every other effect in this movie, it's the most effective in terms of like, ugh, there's a naked lady in his chest, and she's trying to get out, and she does.
Which is great. And then she says, "Rest in hell."
I didn't like that.
I didn't like that.
I didn't like it. It's not a good, like, Freddy already had like a ton of good lines, and then her one line is "rest in hell."
Yeah, it's fine.
Yep.
I don't know.
People say a lot of things.
Yeah.
And then we get the scene that you talked about at the very top of the episode where they're at a wishing well. Dan is final boy. Alice is final girl.
I'm trying to like think of another better line for "left in hell" or
You
"rest in hell."
Suck-headed Fred.
I was like,
I mean,
what if when he
pieces?
like fell over, he
Rest in pieces
landed
is
it,
pretty
rest
good.
in pieces, because he does get ripped into pieces. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, he turns into like a pile of slime. You could be like, "Rest in grease, bitch," and then go, "Mamma mia, that's a spicy meatball," and light it on fire or something.
That's not better. That's
Yeah, it
funnier.
No.
It's better for the
funnier.
context of this pod, but yeah.
She could pick up like after he exploded, like how the one person's boobs were pressed up against the skin. One of the boobs could have got blown off, and then she could have said "breast in peace"
That's
and taken
better.
it,
I like
taken the
that.
boob and walked
I
away.
like that, but they'd have to spend so much more time like setting it up, which I'm cool with. Showing boobs a bunch. That we get that final scene. We get a much better than the other three movies where they do that Friday the 13th thing where it's like so ambiguous that it's like it was a dream the whole time. But in this, she just sees a reflection of Freddy, which I thought was the best ending of the three to do that. Not like he turns into a car, because that one was too much.
They did a lot of different endings for that, and they landed on, him turning into a convertible car.
That's too much. You're doing too much.
Yeah,
But that's back when
I
they're like,
did
we
not
don't know
like the
if
ending of that one.
we don't know if we're doing a next one, and this one felt like they're teasing.
Well, this was, these movies, when they get to 4, they're all trying to wrap it up, right? Every single time. Even 3, they're trying to they're like, but they always have like the little thread. And the thread is the reflection, but like I said earlier, it does feel final. Same with Jason, like the last Jason movie we did. That felt pretty finalized in terms of like Jason's dead, and if we want to make another one, we'll make Tommy Jarvis the new Psycho.
Right.
And then I guess Halloween we'll figure it. Halloween, every single one.
Halloween,
feels like,
we're gonna make another one. He's gonna walk menacingly at the camera and then look at you from the bushes. So to finish out the movie, Freddy Krueger does a turtle power style rap, and that is a Nightmare on Elm Street 4, the Dream Master.
Favorite one, man, Dream Child. The next one is I think they try to put more plot into it, and it does not coalesce into anything good.
But so like the thing that Jason was saying earlier about like telegraphing you the fears, right? Like number 5 really, really goes into that, where it's like everybody has a very clearly defined issue, and like Freddy exploits those things. We'll talk
It's
about
more
it when we
obvious.
get
Like
there.
there's zero.
You only have to wait till March for that, because the spring grimoire is just in March. So,
but that's one of the things that like the bad writers that like took on Freddy after 3 and 4 is like that's what they deemed as the formula for Freddy. It's like, well, we got to have 5 or 6 teenagers, and they all have to have a very clearly defined reason that they die. And this is even how I would approach writing one of these movies if I was to be tasked with
for
writing
sure.
it, right? But they get, I think, too obsessed with the effects. Like in this movie, it's like we have these specific kills based on these things that are wrong with these people, and then like the movie becomes about like how do we get from kill to kill to kill, rather than let's tell a story and then have these things highlight and lift up the story that we're telling.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what slasher movies are, man. That's
true.
what they are.
So
You think Jason Voorhees has depth? No.
I thought his name was
doesn't.
Jason Foreskin.
Jason
No, I
Foreskin.
recently did like with my wife, like last year, we tried to do the Friday the 13th again, just to watch all. It was like October. It's like, okay, we're gonna do the Jason movies. Yeah, by the time you get to like 5, 6, like these are all fucking the same. Like
5
I'll
is
say,
what's
but
really
Nightmare
hard,
on Elm
yeah.
Street, they're not all fucking the same. They're the same thing in broad strokes, but like, I mean, I applaud the writers for coming up with new gimmicks for each one. Like this one was the Dream Master. The next one's like Freddy's child.
Yeah, he's trying
I
to
guess
corrupt
I think
like
Dan
an
gets Alice
unborn
pregnant
baby
or whatever,
something. Yeah,
and she pulls her own baby into the dream. So like Freddy becomes the baby or something. It's
the
I
baby's
don't
like,
recall exactly.
"Hello, I'm a ghost baby," and Freddy's like, "I'm
Yeah.
gonna teach him how to be a real bad
I'd
boy."
say spoilers.
Oh, God.
I'd say spoilers, but I saw the title of the movie and I was like, I could pretty much figure out.
You can guess. Yeah, it's
like the title of the movie is
Not a
almost
subtle-
a spoiler. So we're at the end here. I'm going to say that there was no MPAA rating. However,
The
It's rated R.
MPAA, everyone. The MPAA. Wow.
that from
Wow.
Team America World Police. What's that from?
that's just Steve made it.
They're all me, man.
Oh, okay.
I made all of them.
I thought that one was from something. I know the other ones are all you. I thought I recognized that from something, but I guess
Well, that
not.
makes me feel good.
Maybe
that you
from the
thought
last time I was on the podcast.
Yeah, it makes me feel good that you thought my voice was from a real thing.
You have a good voice. I'm not gonna mince words.
Thank you.
Wow, didn't even mince words.
Your voice is you're a
Craig
master
Webby,
of your
everybody.
instrument.
Wow.
Wow, check this out.
Nice person.
It's time for our final thoughts.
Now this music is from something.
That's
What is
from
that music
something.
from?
The new game is trying to figure out what that's from.
Yeah.
Is it an actual game show?
I'll
or
give
is it
you.
like-
I'll give you $10,000 if you can figure it out.
thought you were gonna say you'll give me 10,000 guesses.
No, I will. I'll. Everybody in America will think you're really funny if you figure it out.
America's Funniest Home Videos.
Yeah.
Nice.
I got
Give
to
that
the-
man the
Oh, I couldn't have done it
$10,000,
without you,
Jason.
Steve.
Yeah.
No, we're gonna play the full 5-minute. You got the MPAA right. So, 'cause if we're gonna do the MPAA thing when it exists in the movie, and if you get it on, we're gonna make a full 5-minute clip to say that you've won. That's gonna play because nobody's ever gonna fucking get it right on. At any rate, as we do every week, much like the history, we give our final thoughts, our in summation, and if you want to do some sort of real rating or joke rating, feel free. And I will, of course, start with the guest. So, Craig, why don't you give us your final thoughts for A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 4, The Dream Master?
I'm so glad to have the opportunity to have watched this and discussed it with you guys because I love doing these episodes. Like particularly horror movies are like it's my favorite genre because I love. I mean, not so much the Freddy movies beyond the first one, but I love the idea of being so good at making a genre of movies that you can actually terrify people. And that's what, like, I'm always that's the dragon that I'm always chasing is like a horror movie that can actually like scare me again. Cause each one I watch like desensitizes me further. This one desensitized me as, you know, a 9-year-old. It set me up for decades of watching both cheesy and high quality horror movies. And I love it. If I were to give it a rating out of 10, my personal, like this is far from the best movie in the series. I think the best movies are the first 3, and then this is a sharp drop off in like film, like cinematic quality, but it's still maybe my favorite because it's just I just love that they're like, we're not gonna worry about the plot so much. We know you're here to just watch the creative kills. and
Listen, we
all the
just
budget
spent
went
$2
into
million
special
on a
effects.
pizza with little meatball faces on it.
Yeah,
so.
the budget went into special effects. It didn't go into the actors. I mean, if the money was going into the actors, they probably could have got Patricia Arquette back because she's
Yeah.
good, but it's not like she was off doing super high budget movies immediately the next year, because this movie did come out 1 year after the previous one. So clearly they cut back the money that they were paying the actors and used that for special effects, which I applaud. They were like, we are gonna try this, and it paid off. I think this was the highest grossing of all the Freddy movies,
What was your
so they knew what they were doing.
what was your rating?
Oh, sorry, rating. What are we going out of
Whatever you
10?
want. Whatever you want.
I'd call it personally. I'd say 8 out of 10. I mean, I know it's obviously like 5 out of 10 on IMDb, but in terms of like how much I appreciate it, I'm gonna say 8 out of 10.
Awesome. Tim in the chat, I think he's a similar age to you, Craig, and he says, this was my first Elm Street movie as a kid, and it definitely made me want to watch the rest. He gives it a 4 out of 5 claw fingers. So that's
Which is the same as 8 out of 10.
yeah,
That's also what Freddy gives it.
yeah, bitch. All right, thank you, Craig. I'd like to give you a little bit of this because you're fucking always an excellent guest.
Oh, thank you.
That's their audience. They're fickle. Man said full bow.
Yep.
Steve.
I've had 3/4 of a bottle of wine, so now I bow.
He's at bowing. He's at the bow stage. You're probably gonna blast a joint, sleep like a dog in a baby's carriage.
I'm not blasting a joint.
Fuck
I
am I
cannot
talking
drink and blast joints. I will throw up.
Okay. All right. I give this
I can't
movie
combine the two.
I will puke if I smoke weed right now. Steven, why don't you give us your final thoughts?
All right, I will. I think out of the 4 we've done so far, I still think that the second one is the best. I do love the third one, but I think this one kind of improves on some of the lackluster effects of the third movie, but without the heart and storytelling of the third movie. It would have been great if they were able to have sort of like that perfect marriage of effects and the storytelling from the third movie. And obviously the dream is that we get the subtext of the second movie, but you know, that almost seems like an accident at this point when you watch those like documentaries like Scream Queen and stuff, where you really see the behind the details or behind the curtain sort of details of.
They didn't know what they were getting with number 2. Like the writer and director were like, well, this is what I'm going to do with it.
The writer knew, the director
hired me.
must have known, but like the studio was like blind to it, right? But anyway, that's a whole different world of horror, right? And horror in general is like predominantly queer friendly, and like any gay person that you meet loves horror. Like most gay people, I don't know. I'm not going to say all, but you know, I like to believe all, because all the ones that I like, including me. So this movie, it falls short for me in a lot of stuff, but it really kind of showcases what Freddy can do in terms of like the creativity of the gross kills that we get, and the ones that we've gotten before are gross. I think that the most predominant one in my mind from the second movie is when Freddy pulls back his own skull to be like, "You've got the body, I got the brains," and you like see his brains like pulsating cool. And stuff, and you're like, "That's amazing!" And like this, every single effect in this movie is that quality or better, you know. And it kind of sucks in terms of like what I know is to come, because I've seen all these movies a bunch of times and I know that it's not going to get better for a little while. I know it does get better eventually there's a tunnel that you have to run through to get to something good, but you've got to sprint through like 3 or 4 movies before you get there. And that's one of the down points for me, and it does affect my rating, is the fact that I do know what is to come and how much more Freddy is going to become less and less scary and more gimmicky, which is why I do love New Nightmare so much, is because that's the whole concept. It's like, well, no one's scared of Freddy anymore. He's a joke.
Let's make him scary again.
Yeah.
And they pulled it off, unlike the remake.
Yeah, for sure.
They did not pull off.
There are some other things that I do love other than the special effects. I don't know if you guys noticed the lighting in this movie. It's not amazing, but it's ambiotic in the sense that like anytime you're in a dream world, which is something that I really like about the Freddy movies, and I dislike about the ones that try to kind of like stray away from that, where they're like, we don't want you to know you're in a dream yet.
Two does
I'm like,
it
no,
best.
I want someone to like put their head on a desk and immediately wake up and have a green light coming this way and a pink light coming that. Like, I want it to be like you're in Freddy's world now. And I appreciate it in this movie because it's so on the nose. The claws, we talked about it at the beginning, the pink light coming through the claws on the locker is like, all right, it's too much for it to just pop up in here for no reason, but I do like that visual, and that is kind of like it sets a precedence for the rest of the movie into like when Freddy's there, you're gonna have some seriously intense pink lighting, and he's going to probably kill you. When the lighting gets more pink, you're more dead. But I'll cut it off there because I'll keep going forever. Story bad, effects good. I liked some of the acting, not all of it, but I liked Andale. I liked that she was back, but she probably should have died. And when it comes down to a rating, I'll say that when it comes to the effects, me in this movie could survive Freddy Krueger for probably about a month. But when it comes to story, oh my God, am I in trouble?
That's your rating?
Yeah, that's my rating.
Amazing. That was really good. You know what, Steve? I'm going to give you one of these because you had a big day today, and that was an excellent final thought. And I control the sounds, so I control the media. I don't know what that means.
That would be a good like Freddy Krueger takes over the media. he's broadcasting dreams to the world.
Hey man,
it's very. It reminded me of what was that knockoff of Twilight Zone? What was that other show?
Factor
The
Fiction?
Outer Limits.
Oh, the Outer Limits.
Outer Limits. Yeah. Outer Limits. Because they were like, we control what you see and hear.
Oh yeah.
control
if you're
the
seeing
vertical
this,
and the
you have
horizontal.
a huge problem with
I liked
aliens
that
and
show
Bigfoot.
because it was on in the 90s, and I'm from the 90s.
Very 90s and filmed in Canada, so it's just full of Canadian actors.
Yeah.
Right.
This one is fun and has some cool moments, but it's got some disjointed ideas and some really bad plot progression. The ADR, which we didn't talk about, is fucking awful a lot of the time. They, especially outside, they couldn't figure out the mix on outdoors. I guess they didn't have boom mics or lav mics or anything adjacent to that because they just could not figure that out. I like the kills
version. If I can, sorry to interrupt. To just stop because I know we're done and I'm not going to have the chance to say it again. Like I do have the movies on DVD, but because I didn't want to plug in a DVD player, I acquired the movie through illegitimate means, and man, the sound mix was terrible. I don't know if it was bad for you guys, but like music was so loud. I was watching it in bed. I had to keep turning it up and down between like regular dialogue and anything else that was happening.
I was watching. I got the Google Play version on rental, and it was fine. It was just it was when they were talking outdoors. They clearly didn't like the audio they recorded wasn't good enough to use, so they just ADR'd over it. Yeah. That's when it was the worst.
The whole movie feels like ADR.
Yeah.
The audio was not great.
And they're not great actors, so their ADR is just wrong. Like it's just completely off.
Yeah.
I'm surprised we didn't talk about that sooner. I'm glad that I put that in my final thoughts here. I like the kills a lot, and Freddy is still in his badass era, in my opinion. Not like a parody of himself yet. He hasn't gone full parody of himself yet. These movies have a specific vibe I can't really describe. Like, you have to go a little further with your suspension of disbelief, but you almost are glad to do it because you want to see what Freddy will come up with to show his victims their own nightmares. And you guys have only made me excited for I've heard that Freddy's Dead is like the worst one, but I'm excited to see how like out of control, funny and dumb it is.
It's like in the room of Nightmare on Elm Street movies. Like it's so bad it's good. Like I love to watch it, even though it's a terrible, terrible movie. Like it's got excited. 3D scene. It's oh man.
I'm excited.
Alice Cooper's in it.
To see your opinion as well, Jason, because like we've talked about how we love Freddy for different reasons, and like this movie we like for certain reasons, and there's a very good chance that you'll like that movie for very specific reasons, but also agree with us that like it should be put
Yeah.
into a fedora hat and buried inside of a
And then pissed on with fire to bring it back to life.
pistol. Yeah, exactly.
Maybe next Halloween, the three of us can watch it together in person.
Oh,
Um,
I'm into it. I love it. I love that movie so much, even though it's probably the worst one.
or maybe we open the Grimoire again in the summer or something. Let's see here. I feel the worst. Wait, what the fuck did I just write here?
listen, I gotta pee real bad,
sorry.
so you better wrap
think,
it up.
Sorry, I think the worst kills in the movie are just a stab to the gut. Is what I said there.
That's
2.8 out of 5. Entertaining, but ultimately has some issues with pacing and progression. I give this movie the special effect of the cockroach sequence versus the special effect of just getting stabbed in the gut. That's what I give this movie as my joke rating.
it's your juxtaposition.
Yes. I think that we did a good job here of covering everything for this movie. So, once again, Craig Webster, do you have anything you'd like to plug right now? I know last time you didn't really have anything going on.
No, I have 2 kids and barely sleep. So, my creative endeavors are all on the back burner. I'm trying to work on making hot sauces, but we can't get into it. Wrapping this podcast
there's a
up, there's
learning
been a
curve,
fiasco.
Yeah,
No,
I can't
I've
talk
done it
about
before.
It's undercover, and we got to keep it.
There's a thing called Peppergate where like at the top the companies that distribute the hot pepper seeds mislabeled shit, so people got a bunch of peppers that are not what they ordered, including myself. I have peppers growing that I don't know what they are. They haven't ripened properly. I have a shit ton of jalapenos, and I think what should be habaneros, but I mean I missed out on a bunch of other stuff that I should have got. So that's my creative endeavor right now, is making hot sauce, but it's severely diminished because half my peppers are not what they were supposed to be.
Which is a perfect segue to Steve. I believe you have something you'd like to promote. I'm going to play.
You do creative endervors?
The trailer.
I do
for
creative
it.
endeavors. We should create endeavors together.
I'm gonna play the outro song, and then we're gonna do the little bit where we just have a little banter over the thanks for watching. And then I'm gonna play the trailer for your creative endeavor. But explain what it is, because it doesn't really say.
All right, so thank you. For the last, I don't know, maybe 5-6 months, I've been working on it's sort of like a hybrid between a tabletop RPG and a puzzle escape game, similar to an escape room. And for those of you who don't know, I worked in escape games for about 7 years, designing puzzles, building rooms, designing rooms, from everything from, just like designing how they look to designing how the puzzle mechanics worked. I did all of that, and I moved on to board games and different types of puzzle escapes at your home or whatever. And so I've been working on my own version of that, which is essentially a game called Confirm Exile. And the idea is that you have a manual for a spaceship, a spaceship's manual that has all of the maps and how to repair things and dossiers for your fellow crew members and all that kind of stuff. And you're also working in tandem with an AI that you interact with through your phone, your iPad, your computer, or whatever. And the idea is that you have to escape the ship alive. And I've been working on this for quite some time with a partner of mine named Chris, who I don't want to give too much information about him because I haven't asked him. I should probably ask him before I'm like, hey, do you want me to tell everybody about you? But our Kickstarter went live today, and I'm very excited. So if you guys are interested, it's Kickstarter and Confirm Exile. And if you want, there's a whole bunch of different pledge tiers that you can go for, just from everything from the base game to having your name be in the game as a character. We have one where you can have a name and a portrait that I'll draw for you. You'll become one of the characters in the game, all the way up to a grand tier where your character can be named after you as the owner of all of the space stations in our solar system. It's an expensive tier, but I'm hoping that somebody buys it. They want to be the king of the universe. And in the back of the book, the manual, there will be a full page dedicated to a portrait of this character and a biography that we will write out for that character as well.
That's awesome. And I'll
yeah.
put the link. I'm going to post this episode on YouTube tomorrow. I'll put the link to the Kickstarter in there, and then once the game gets funded, we'll be talking about it a lot. We'll keep promoting it. Next week we'll show the ads. We'll talk about it again. It goes until November. It's 33 days from now, so I think November 22nd, I believe, is when the Kickstarter's done.
Yeah, or the 23rd at 1 in the morning or something. Yeah.
So if you're listening to this tonight or over the next, there's several people in the chat, or over the course of the next week or so, please go ahead and sign up for that because it's going to be cool.
Yeah. I backed it. I'm excited. I'm excited about the fact that you're combining physical media with an app, but you're combining the two different worlds into one.
Yeah, and I mean, we joke around about my audio stuff on the podcast all the time, but that primarily is how the puzzles will be delivered to you is through audio recordings with the AI, who will be voiced by.
I'm not joking when I say you're a master of your voice.
Thank you.
Sincere about that. Don't laugh.
Oh, thank you for saying that about me.
All right. Well, now you're just. I take it all back.
Oh God damn it! Listen, I'm gonna pee in my pants. Yeah.
Okay. And with that,
well, considering how bad you have to pee, that was still pretty good.
That was just my pee holding in voice. Yeah.
And with that, Craig, do you want to ask the very important question that we ask each and every week?
Hey, have you seen this one? That one? Is it that one? No,
Yeah.
It's this one, right?
Close it.
Is that the question? So what are you guys doing this weekend?
I'm probably going to be pissing fire into my toilet for the next 4 days.
Just a constant stream for the next 96 hours.
That shot of Watchmen. Zack Snyder Watchmen. The comedian is blowing a bunch of fire out of his dick while smoking a cigar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Oh yeah, I remember it.
It's my favorite part.
Tomorrow's my last day of work before I get my five week parental leave with my second kid.
Oh, shit.
Very much looking forward to signing out of work for just over a month and spending time with a little potato baby. He's just a little potato.
But first,
don't tell Freddy about that.
Starting off by watching Chromeo. Do you guys want to watch?
Yeah, we got Chromeo this Saturday.
Do you want to watch the ad for this game?
Oh shit! I was trying to say funny things because you're gonna cut us off. All right, yeah, true. Okay.
Yeah, I guess I have to pull Twitch up, right?
This is a little different. It's a little different than our normal show. So I'm gonna, Craig, let me know when you have it up. So
I'm in Twitch.
Hey, did you see this one?
Oh god, I hated to see. Hold on a sec.
We should
My
be
computer's
live.
pretty quick. Oh, MFA, get out of here. Okay, I'm just gonna do it anonymously.
Thanks, Tim. Night I Keldon. Thanks for sticking around. Tim, always a pleasure. Thank you.
I've already seen this, so I'm gonna go to the washroom.
You go
I'll
pee.
Be right back.
You go pee. Let me know there, Craig boy.
I'm in, but I'm watching an ad for something else.
It'll be about 10 seconds. I don't know how to turn those off. It sucks because I don't want ads.
You
on
can't
this
pay.
Shit.
Yeah.
No, it's like you can have a minimum amount of ads or a fuck ton of ads.
Yeah, I'm in. I can watch this ad.
Okay. You see it playing?
There it goes.
You're awake. Please remain calm. Please remain calm. An accident has occurred, resulting in a minor head injury. Resulting in a major head injury. Minor head injury. Injury. The cause of this incident is unknown. No other injuries were reported, and the station has resumed normal operation. While an investigation into the incident is currently underway. Several hull breaches detected. Several hull breaches detected. Several hull breaches detected. Emergency power online. Backup power failing. Recommend evacuation protocol. All emergency protocols and vital steps for evacuation can be found in your company field manual. The field manual will provide useful information to aid you in your current objective and guide you to solutions for any situation that you are confronted with in the coming moments. Pairing the manual and its wealth of valuable information with your company-issued multi-tool, there is no problem unsolvable to you. Using records of your crew, dossiers, research, and systems operation guides is imperative. Search for information left by your crewmates, clues to what has occurred, alien records, and classified tools aboard in order to progress through the ship and escape. It is company policy that all crew update their personal logs regularly for company review. These records will no doubt aid you in your mission to evacuate the ship. It is imperative that you utilize your field manual if you are to safely exit the station. The field manual. The field manual. You must use the field manual. In the event of an emergency on the station, the evacuation protocol must immediately be activated. A head count will be taken to ensure all crew members are present. The station's escape pod will then be activated, and the crew will board and be launched into space. There you will await confirmation. Confirmation.